check. Welcome back. It feels like I just left all of you, and here we are again. Some people aren't even going to know that we hung out this morning already. To some people, this will be a surprise. For everybody that's joining us, thanks for joining us wherever you are, however you're listening. Thanks for making us part of your day. Let me get the chats up here. I forgot to jump in the VC with Jen. One of these times, I think about 11% of the time I jump in the VC with Jen before we get started. It's probably lower than that. It's probably like 5%. Jen, mic check. Can you hear me? I forgot to double check the mic check on Discord.
I can hear you.
You got me loud and clear? Yay. Sorry to be a little bit late. Oh, we had a sorry. Someone brought me a drink. I was very shocked right there. Sorry for the late start though. I had to get some breakfast and then I had to evacuate some previous meals. So we're good to go now. You got anything to say, Jen?
I mean, I didn't tell on you.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Oh, all right. Well, I thought Jen, I didn't think, all right, I had to poop. That's why I was late and I told Jen that. And then
nope, I didn't tell on you.
And then she texted me and said the people are starting to worry. So sorry, I thought you all knew. That's on me. That's fuck, my bad.
Nope. No, I let you. I wasn't going to.
All right, this is embarrassing.
Who smelt it? Who dealt it or anything? It wasn't me.
So. Yeah. Well. Do you want to make some announcements real quick?
Sure. I mean, on that note, so we're gonna get a lot of Jay's shitty behavior, I guess, today. So
I overestimated you. I thought for sure.
No,
right.
I actually I can't. I mean, I keep a lot of things to myself, but you know,
yeah.
For future reference, I guess I won't. So.
All right, I'm not going to tell you again. I thought. Sorry. Yeah.
I mean, you'll tell me again. That'll.
Let's do the announcemance. I'd rather not talk about this anymore.
All right. So, like I said, we're going to be getting a lot of Jay's shitty behavior today. So, we do have a gift goal for today's students. This is our job. We do this each day, Monday through Friday, when Jay doesn't have to poop from 9:30 to 1 Pacific Standard Time. So we've got it. Like I said, the gift goal is in the top left-hand corner. Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats all go towards knocking out the rest of that balance. We do member-only events. So if you guys are a paid subscriber, depending on where you're watching, TikTok, Twitch, or a member on YouTube, you can join us for those events. If you guys disagree with RTP, you guys, I think it's still pretty early for that. So
How could you? How could you disagree with me?
Huh?
I said, how could you disagree with me? How's that even possible?
It happens all the time.
Okay.
Anyways, check out the link tree in our bio. We're on most social media platforms. We've got merch, Jay's on Cameo, and we upload these episodes to Spotify. And I think this joke would be appropriate for today.
Yeah.
Why did Elvis get sprayed by his can of Coke?
It was all shook up.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, thank you.
And he died on the toilet. So.
Oh, he did. Oh, that's right. Well, I lived, so take that, Elvis. It's our R.I.P. to the king. All right. Well, that was weird. Sorry for that start. If I could go back and do it over, I would, but I can't. And we're going to cover a lot of sensitive topics today, so that sucks. But before we get to the topics, the main topic, which of course is going to be that a bunch of very courageous victims have said enough is enough, and they're forcing Congress's hand. And the only people that are opposed to doing the will of the people and protecting victims appear to be the Republicans. So be prepared, by the way. We're going to have some fucked up people in our chat today. The YouTube, this topic, for some reason, has apologetics. And they will show up, or apologists, excuse me, and they will show up and they will engage in apologetics, or they will engage in blame shifting or they'll make this all about themselves somehow. So just prepare yourself, take care of each other. Before they all get here, just remind each other that you can go over to Twitch, and it's pretty tame in there. I've also thought about making one of the 3 platforms like subscriber only, just so that there's like a place that people can go if they don't want to deal with psychopaths. But I haven't decided on that yet. A lot of these abusers like Trump. They do seem to like him. Like Jen said, we are crowdfunded, so I'll read any super chats you send my way or the other ways, and then make sure on TikTok to take care of our wonderful HR rep. If you can give, please gift on TikTok. 30% goes to TikTok, 30% goes to our HR rep who has kept us alive, and the other 30% goes to us. But that's a good way to make sure that we don't get taken down on TikTok every day. This came forward this morning. While the victims were speaking, Congress was in session and they were doing real things, including this. This is Representative Yvette Clarke finally doing something that should have been done months ago.
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Clause 2A1 of Rule 9, I rise to give notice of my intention to raise a question of the privileges of the House, in the form of a resolution as is follows. Whereas Representative Corey Mills has on several occasions conducted himself in a manner that reflects discredit upon the House of Representatives. Whereas on February 19th of 2025, Washington, D.C. Metropolitan Police Department officers were called to resolve a private matter at Representative Corey Mills' residence, where officers were called to the 1300th block of Maryland Avenue Southwest around 1:15 p.m. for the report of an assault. Whereas the police reports obtained by NBC4 Washington confirmed that the Washington, D.C. Metropolitan Police Department was investigating Representative Corey Mills for an alleged assault of a 27-year-old woman that took place on February 19, 2025 at the residence of Representative Corey Mills. And whereas the first police report provided to NBC4 Washington by a source and confirmed by a second source familiar with the investigation said that the 27-year-old woman accused her significant other for over a year of having grabbed her, shoved her, and pushed her out the door, and also said the woman involved showed the officers bruises on her arm which appeared fresh.
Yeah. Corey Mills is they're offering censure for Corey Mills because he should shut the fuck up. It's great to see members of Congress doing something, going after serial abusers. We'll see. You can guarantee that the same exact people from the Republican Party will line up to support Corey Mills and say this. And in all fairness to Corey Mills, I guess what he did is like number 80 on the list of all the awful things Republican men do to women. So they probably won't do shit about it. We literally have like Republicans in here, blah, 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 women, women, women. I know it's tough for you, Mr. Ronald Jansen. I know that's tough for you. It's hard for you to imagine being able to have sex that isn't coerced or forced. So I understand that today is a difficult day for you. Feels like all your options are being limited. So I understand you're having some tough feelings today. I hope you sort through those, and maybe those in the chat can help Ronald sort through his feelings of why it bothers him when women are victims of horrific crimes that they speak out. This just made me laugh. This is one of those people that's going to be out there defending Mark Lee Harvey Oswald McMullen went on Fox News last night. And I if we're going to be honest, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. I don't even know why they're still talking about CBS to editing video, but they are. Apparently they edited a new video of Kristi Noem, which they edit every video in every interview. That's what every news outlet does. So of course they brought in Mark McMullins, but listen to what he says to Sean Hannity here.
Well, look what they did with Kamala Harris's interview. I mean, you'd think they'd learned their lesson about editing after President Trump sued them and won. But at the same time, they don't. They got a narrative they draw. They're no longer reporting. That's why shows like CBS and their reporting on politics, no one takes it serious anymore. That's why Fox exists, because you can actually get news here. You can actually understand what's happening in the world of politics. And so
He got sued for just south of $1 billion for knowingly lying about election fraud. Like, they got caught not just not telling the truth, knowingly lying. Like, they read all their emails, and all the Fox hosts were like, yeah, we know this is bullshit, but they'll watch something else if we don't lie to them. And then they got sued for $1 billion. This is the stage of denial that we're in, where I was talking to I mentioned this earlier, but I was talking to a friend of mine who's a professor. He teaches he teaches policy. And he was talking about like the difference between the students now and when he went to school, because he's kind of a new professor. And so this is his first time really like coming across Gen Zers. And this is one of the things that he said that they're most alarmed about is how like sycophantic the right has become recently. This type of stuff, like everything they say now is hyperbolic. This is a crazy thing to say. It is weird to go on Fox News and just glaze them like this and point to like other news organizations who have, by the way, they didn't even get caught lying like about that Kamala Harris interview. Nothing they did in that edit changed a single thing. It was not glaring. Nobody even, in fact, if I brought up a Republican right now to tell me what they edited and why it was a problem, I promise none of them would know, because it was legitimately nothing. Like they shot there was like a 1 minute segment, and they had a shorter answer instead of the longer answer, and then they provided the longer answer in long form, and then they gave the transcripts. Like there was nothing. It was no problem, and they're still hanging on to that. But Fox gets sued for $1 billion for actually lying, and like their hosts talking about, yeah, we're lying to everybody, and this is what we get.
Of some biased narrative that CBS and these other left-wing media outlets continue to draw, and they prove themselves by constantly by showing hypocrisy, like they do with Kristi Noem, and then they get called out on it. And what do they do? Nothing. They're going to do the exact same thing they did with Kamala Harris's editing,
which was nothing,
during the presidential election, and they're going to continue to move this because they got left-wing radicals running that station now. Well,
that's where we're at. It's just like, bro, there's real shit going on in this world. What are you doing glazing Sean Hannity for? Why are you even talking about an edited video of Kristi Noem? I guess we can look. Let's see. I don't even know what they're talking about. Kristi Noem. It's also weird for somebody like Kristi Noem to talk about editing when, like, if you see her now and saw a picture of her from 10 years ago, you wouldn't even know it was the same person. Let's see. Here's what she's claiming.
That he doesn't walk free in the United States. And the one thing that we will continue to do is to make sure that he doesn't walk free in the United States of America. This individual was a known human smuggler, a MS-13 gang member, an individual who was a wife beater, and someone who was so perverted that he solicited nude photos from minors.
Wait. They're mad at CBS. This is worse. The reason that CBS, I mean, I don't know, but if I was CBS, I would not air that either, because none of those were proven. She's saying things that are factually untrue and would open CBS up to a libel suit. This hasn't been proven. And this is what MAGA won't even care. Like, you guys don't even fucking care. You think that you can just say anything you fucking want. This is the Department of Homeland Security secretary, and she's saying that he is a convicted and proven abuser of his spouse. Not true. Do I believe her? Sure. Do I think he's a good guy? No. Not a convicted human smuggler. Those have been, I believe those charges have all been dropped. I've never heard this now about soliciting pictures from a minor. None of this stuff is substantiated. This is what they're complaining about? To make sure that he doesn't walk free in the United States of America. This individual was a known human smuggler. Unproven. MS-13 gang member. Disproven. An individual who was a wife beater. Not proven, but allegation. And someone who was so
perverted, that he solicited nude photos from minors. And one thing that we will
unproven, but then they sued Stephanopoulos for quoting the judge who said that Trump was a convicted, I think he might have said rapist. That's crazy. What this is when you know it's a cover up. Like, being outraged about that, you got nothing, Republicans. You can't brag about what your president's doing because it's a fucking disaster. You can't brag about the economy. You can't brag about even on tariffs. You guys have all turned on him on tariffs. It's like 60% of the country has turned on him. He's completely underwater on tariffs in every way. I also wanted to show this because this is just further proof that Fox News is so unbelievably full of shit. They will lie right to your face. This is Sean Hannity in 2019 talking about Russia interfering in the 2016 election.
Saying conservatives believe.
Yeah, what about the knuckle tattoos that don't exist? Yeah. By the way, you said, like, nobody has protected this guy. Nobody has protected Abrego Garcia. He has gone to court for everything. Except for one time he was waiting for court and the Republicans just took him and threw him in prison without due process. And then we were like, hey, you can't do that. That's the only defense that we've offered for him, but you guys don't know that. All right, here's Sean Hannity talking about Russian Russian interference in the election.
That Ukraine was responsible for election interference in 2016 and not Russia. It's a conspiracy theory. No, I've never said that. We pointed out many times on this program, Russia is a hostile regime led by a hostile actor, Vladimir Putin, who we're not going to have more flexibility with ever. I have zero doubt they meddled in the 2016 elections. I'm certain they did. Devin Nunes was warning Obama in 2014 it would happen, but they did nothing. And by the way, yeah, look at the dirty Russian dossier that Hillary bought and paid for. According to the New York Times, very late in the game, likely Russian disinformation from the beginning. And yes, Russia interfered in our 2016 elections. They have done it before. They're going to try and do it again. Every indication is also, though, separate and apart, Ukraine interfered in our elections as well, and I have no doubt others. The January 11, 2017 Politico reports in detail. If you read
all right, now if that sounds odd to you, it's probably because you've watched Fox recently, where they've just pretended that they never said Russia interfered and that Russia didn't interfere.
These declassified documents, and I have read them.
Good afternoon.
It is very clear that they did not.
Nancy Mace's post last night making things about her. I don't know if I agree with that.
Not make the assessment that there was any Russian interference in that election. The only Russian interference in the 2016 election actually was the Hillary Clinton bought and paid for Russian disinformation dossier, which we know was completely debunked. They knew it was debunked before they ever used it as the basis of not one but 4 FISA warrants. And then, of course, they had the meeting in the White House only weeks before Obama left office, and then minutes before Donald Trump was sworn in. Then it was the Susan Rice CYA memo. Barack Obama said, do everything by the book about a meeting weeks ago. James Comey said, do everything by the book weeks ago. So there's a lot here. They all lied. And I'm proud that this show and
Listen to this
ensemble cast of wonderful people, Solomon, Greg Jarrett, Sarah Carter, and others, we got it right. Rest of the media went along with the lies, the hoax, the conspiracy theories.
It's just they'll just tell you. We've never lied to Republicans. Like, yo, they've never lied. I just showed you that he lied. Just showed you. By the way, why do you do this every day? Mandy Rose is in the YouTube chat. If you're not there, I don't know who this person is, but every day they come in and they ask about Andrew, and they say the same thing, like, did you debate him? But you do this every time. So we know, everybody knows that we've debated, and then like 5 seconds later, you're like, Andrew dominated that debate. And the challenge still, I think it's $200. Anybody who can come up here and explain how Andrew won that debate, you get $200. You just have to be able to even explain his argument. And if anybody hasn't watched that debate, it was a shit show, because debating Andrew is a shit show. And all Andrew wants to do is justify his bigotry. So we talked about immigration, and Andrew granted me my entire economic argument that immigrants do more good than harm in this country. And then he said, I want to talk about social cohesion instead. I only want to talk about how immigrants make me feel icky. And like, yeah, if you watched that and you were like, he got him, it's because you also think immigrants are icky. And by the way, it's weird, Mandy Rose, that like you're in here. What the fuck are you advocating for? Don't they all want you to have no rights? Andrew doesn't want you to vote. He doesn't think you should have the right to vote. I'm surprised you're in here. I didn't know you guys were allowed to speak. You're not supposed to even ever have a vote under his ideology. So it is interesting for you to come in here and pick me for Andrew. I think he's married already. So good luck with that. Maybe they'll do polygamy later on down the road. We'll see. This came out of PV Magazine. Just a little comparison here. In China, they have added 1,556 new energy storage projects in July with 140 gigawatt hours capacity. They've added new storage project. Oh, why did they do it twice? And there's 1,468 application projects in the works. Why that's important is they use renewable energy, but they've also done a good job of taking renewable energy that is not used, and they are storing it. And for comparison, as of July, China's total installed battery energy storage capacity is 94 gigawatts divided by 222 gigawatts. And in the US, it's 30 gigawatts. So they are about 3 times more prepared for AI adaptation than we are. And they're accelerating that rate in which they're preparing themselves. But here in America, Donald Trump is like, we're gonna drill more oil because heaven forbid your energy be inexpensive. Who wants who wants to not pay an energy bill every month? All Americans, just uniformly. I want to pay high prices. I want to pay high oil prices. I want to pay high natural gas prices. I would hate it if the energy just came from the sun. By the way, yeah, thank you, Madeline, for giving the Andrew Simpson here directions on how they can talk to me. Again, it's $200, but you've just got to be able to even explain his argument. You've also got to be able to explain why he didn't understand what my argument was. He only knew that I mentioned the GDP one time. But that challenge, how long have we been doing that challenge? It's got to have been like a month now that you guys have been coming in every day saying the same thing. And it's just ironic to me that none of you can reframe that argument. It's almost like you just view him like a fan, and because of Andrew's personality, you never and you don't know what he's saying. You just think he wins because he stays calm. And I think that's kind of borne out every time we go into a panel after. Remember, then the last time we were in a panel together, he came up and he said that like wages are revenue sharing. That guy's a fucking idiot. I got to tell you, like he's really good at his ideology shit. He's great. Like if you really don't like women, like if you really think women are the worst, you'll probably really like Andrew Wilson. But like when it comes to policy, or when it comes to like governing, or it comes about the government in general, the only thing he knows is the stuff he's researched to justify his mistreatment of immigrants and women. But that guy, like if that's who you follow, like all you know is hate. That's why you can't ever come up and explain it. If you're gonna be hateful, at least have some policy behind you. At least have some understanding of how economics work. All right. Yesterday, Federal Appeals Court, I think now 2 rulings. I think one came out again this morning. A divided Federal Appeals Court on Tuesday said President Donald Trump's use of the Alien Enemies Act to rapidly deport alleged Venezuelan gang members is unlawful, and blocked its use in several southern states, issuing another blow to Trump's invocation of the 18th century law. Just like we said, it's unconstitutional. Just like you guys said, we've never read it. The Constitution is whatever Trump says. I don't know where my highlights went. I don't know why only the top one stayed. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals said in a 2-1 ruling that Trump cannot move forward with using the sweeping wartime authority for deportations in Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. The president has not leaned on the 1798 law for removal since mid-March, when his invocation of it sparked the first series of legal challenges. Tuesday's ruling is notable because it's likely the vehicle through which the issue will reach the Supreme Court for the justices to potentially review Trump's use of law in full. Now, when this goes to the Supreme Court, just so I know that you guys just root for Trump no matter what, but I want to make sure that if the Supreme Court sides with Donald Trump here, that means that the president can just basically invoke the Alien Enemies Act whenever he wants. He doesn't have to show cause for it. He doesn't have to show that like there are new circumstances or dangerous circumstances. He can just say it. He could just be like, these people are dangerous, and now we get to remove them. And I get that on the right, you guys love that. So this is You guys need the Supreme Court to rule for you. Otherwise, this whole deportation thing is going to be a fucking nightmare. And then the federal government is going to get sued to smithereens. Because if the Supreme Court rules that Trump did this illegally and unconstitutionally, there are damages. And those damages will have to be settled. If the Supreme Court rules that he did it, and all these people that have been mistreated, they can all sue our federal government. The end result of this Donald Trump presidency will be, unless he just like is a fascist and they just install a fascist regime, like the end result is likely going to be hundreds of millions, probably billions of dollars in lawsuits that we're all going to have to pay out. That's not even like real conspiracy theory. Like if you live in a purple state, like I live in Arizona, the taxpayers have already footed like close to $100 million just for Donald Trump's mistakes. Tucson, he still owes Tucson a bunch of money. We've had 5 different audits of the election here, all of them concluding the exact same thing. We had to replace in Maricopa County all of our routers, everything that connected to the internet because they tried to install a backdoor into our internet systems. Donald Trump will cost all of us billions of dollars. And again, what are you getting for it? Let's look at the Republicans in the chat. What do you guys think you're getting from this? I think that so far what I've heard from most of you is just like your cruelty matches his, and so you like that cruelty. I know who the deporter-in-chief is. Yeah, that's the crazy thing. Let's talk about the deporter-in-chief. Let's talk about Obama. Let's talk about that. Why didn't Obama get sued? What was the difference? Do you know? Almost all of Obama's deportations took place within 100 miles of the border. They were encounters. And there are different laws for if you are encountered within 100 miles of the border. So you're not entitled to the same processes. So your deportations are swift. So if Trump was just doing that, there would be no lawsuits. Nobody would even care because Biden did it too. Trump did it his first time. Nobody cared. It's the inhumanity. Well, some people care. I take that back. Some people will always care. But it's the inhumanity and then the anti-constitutional way in which he navigates this that has people up in arms. It has even Republican judges saying like, dude, you're the president. You're not a king. Because he has black privilege. Oh, you guys are such bitches. Yeah, he did get sued, but not for that. He didn't get sued for legal detentions for the apprehensions within 100 miles. He got sued for other things, but I don't believe he was sued for that. But again, we can say this. I just to the Republicans that are here, can we be honest? Like, do you just purposefully misunderstand this so that you can play whataboutism? I know that I'm not the first person that has explained the difference between these deportations. I know that you hear this every day. And this is what's a little frustrating about Republicans in general. You're all such fucking liars. None of you say what you really mean. Your lack of courage is astounding. You're always lying about why you support something. Right? Every one of you. Why are you doing whataboutism right now? Because you like what's going on. And you don't like that we're talking about it. So you're like, so instead of just like addressing what are the differences, you could just Google what's the difference between how Obama and Biden deported people versus Trump. You could Google this. You could get answers. It almost seems like you know not to get answers. You know to just like stick with the question because the question gives you this out. And you get to do it from the comment section, so then you get to leave and you just go to the next stream and you say the same thing. But does it ever bother any of you that you never learn a new trick? Every time we talk about deportations, there's 30 people in the chat saying the exact same thing. Not one of you has figured it out yet? This is terrifying. So during the Biden administration, there was, and I'm actually fairly sure we covered this. There was the Department of Homeland Security entered into a contract with Paragon. Paragon is a now U.S. Now owned U.S. firm. In late 2024, under the Biden administration, the $2 million contract was put on hold pending a compliance review to make sure it adhered to an executive order that restricts the U.S. government's use of spyware. So the story came out, the Department of Homeland Security was planning on using Paragon, which originally was from Israel. And again, now it's U.S. owned, but developed in Israel. there was a lot of pushback, and so he put out an executive order that said, okay, we have to suspend using this until we know that it's going to be compliant and adhere to the executive order. That pause has now been lifted, according to a public procurement documents, which list U.S. Immigration and Custom Enforcement as the contracting agency. It means that one of the most powerful stealth cyber weapons ever created, which was produced outside the United States, is now in the hands of an agency that has repeatedly been accused by civil and human rights groups of violating people's due process. Court just ruled against them just now. The story first reported by Jack Polson on All Source Intelligence Substack newsletter. You can check the original there. When it successfully is deployed against a target, the hacking software called Graphite can hack into any phone. By essentially taking control of the mobile phone, the user, in this case ICE, can not only track an individual's whereabouts, read their messages, look at their photographs, but also open and read information held on encrypted applications like WhatsApp or Signal. Spyware like Graphite can also be used as a listening device through the manipulation of the phone's recorder. An executive order signed by the Biden administration sought to establish some guardrails around the U.S. government's use of spyware. It said that the U.S. shall not make operational use of commercial spyware that poses significant counterintelligence or security risks to the United States government or significant risks of improper use by a foreign government or foreign person. The Biden administration also took the extraordinary step of placing one of Paragon's rival spyware makers, NSO Group, on a Commerce Department blacklist, saying the company had knowingly supplied foreign governments to maliciously target the phones of dissidents, human rights activists, and journalists. Paragon has sought to differentiate itself from NSO. It has said that unlike NSO, which previously sold its spyware to Saudi Arabia and other regimes, that it only does business with democracies. How's that? Hey, we're worried about your spyware and that it's going to be used on it's going to be used against our people or people that have no reason to be surveilled. Well, would it help to know that we only do business with democracies, they said? No, that doesn't help at all. That means dick. That doesn't mean a fucking thing to me. It also has said it has a no tolerance policy and will cut off government clients who use the spyware to target members of civil society, such as journalists. Don't worry, guys. We'll police ourselves. Don't worry. It'll be fine. This is all they had to say, and the Trump administration is all, go for it. Paragon refuses to disclose, however, who its clients are. So do we know that it's only democracies? Do we know that they don't use the spyware against members of civil society or journalists? Nope, because we don't know. And it said it does not have insight into how its clients use the technology against targets. That's a problem. If they say they do not have insight into how its clients use the technology against targets, how are you going to make sure that it's not targeting members of civil society and journalists? If you don't know why they're targeting somebody or why the spyware is being used on their phone, isn't this weird? John Scott Railton, and now a senior, did I get that? Railton, a senior research at Citizen Lab at the University of Toronto, who's one of the world's leading experts on cases in which spyware like Graphite has been abused by governments, said in a statement that such tools were designed for dictatorships, not democracies built on liberty and protection of individual rights. Invasive, secret hacking power is corrupting. That's why there's a growing pile of spyware scandals in democracies, including with Paragon's Graphite. Paragon broke off its ties with Italy after it was revealed that 90 people, including journalists and members of civil society, who, of course, they make sure are never touched by this, in 24 countries had been targeted by the spyware. The individuals who were targeted by the Italian government included human rights activists who have been critical of Italy's dealings with Libya. Several journalists were also targeted, though it is still unclear who ordered those hacking attacks. You guys went so quick from like government stay out of our business to government get in my rectum. Like just overnight, you guys have gone, we need daddy government watching over what we're doing at all times. How'd you guys do that? How the shit did that happen? How are you now like, yeah, well, we need a police state? Here's a story coming out from Senator Shoshana, Sloth Committee Chair. I don't know who this is, to be honest. An age verification provider now in the United States is potentially leaking information about people visiting pornographic websites, according to a report from the nonprofit AI Forensics shared exclusively with our colleagues at Political EU. The report claims that the age verification systems used by 3 of the 6 adult websites currently complying with France's online regulations aren't meeting the government's technical guidelines for double anonymity. That's a requirement that age verification providers only know that people are trying to confirm they are an adult and not collect details on what websites people are visiting and why. The report found age verification service AgeGO receives requests with code disclosing the website being visited, as well as a link to the exact video the person is trying to access. Watch out, freaks. Okay? This is going to change the way that people browse. You're going to think twice before you see something new and go, I wonder if I'm into that. This is in France, too. Weird, right? Weird that all these companies keep going to democracies and then they get caught. The company based in Spain did not respond for a request for comment. The report comes as more countries and American states require age verification to access adult content. The requirements to verify a person's age online, which can include uploading a copy of your ID or taking a picture of AI to analyze, have raised privacy concerns. The Age Verification Providers Association responded to a critical report on Monday by calling for federal data privacy law in the United States. Don't we have, I haven't read it, but isn't there some sort of, on the tiki-taki, isn't there some sort of new, like, age verification thing? We're following liberal Europe. Shut the fuck up, Drew. Shut the fuck up. You just think Europe equals liberal. These are the authoritarians that are doing this. You dumb bitch. You silly, silly dumb bitch. This is the right. You have no idea what you guys are ever looking at. Everything that's bad, you're just like, that's the left for you. You have no idea. This is the right. These are authoritarians. Authoritarians are like, look around the world. Who are the authoritarians? Trump. Putin, Erdogan, what's the guy in El Salvador's name? Bukele, Xi. Yeah. They all have this type of like censorship and this type of control. You guys keep pointing at China and you're like, China's the left because they're communist. China's a market economy with authoritarian rule. That's what China is. If Donald Trump is able to have the control that he wants, and he's taking pieces of companies for the federal government, and he installs a police state, guess what, bitch? You're China. Yeah, Netanyahu, thank you. Whew, don't want to leave out Netanyahu there. It's crazy, like, just the word communism and socialism can just trick all of you. That's why you guys are soft on Putin, but you're not with China. Like, even though Putin just doesn't say, like, I'm a communist. That's why you guys will side with the same people. You'll side with Netanyahu. You'll side with Erdogan and Orban and Bukele. And they do all of this stuff. And you celebrate it. You're just like, check out Bukele. Look at the crime rate. Look how much it went down in El Salvador. Fair, but how'd they do it? They basically locked up people without due process, and it's a complete and total surveillance state, and you have no privacy. By the way, for you Christians that are out there, I want to talk to you. I want to talk to the bros. I want to talk to the Andrew Wilson crowd if you're still here. You all know what the fuck you do on the internet. You all lie about it, okay? And you go on the internet, you do your thing, and then you go find a video that calls women whores for having a body count over 0. We know about that. But just think for a second. You wind up in a situation where you find out that your leaders, whoever they are, lied to you, and you want to expose them. You go out and you expose them. Guess what's next? Your search history. And then you got to decide, like, am I willing to undo my entire reputation? Does my wife need to know? If you have a wife, does my wife need to know? Do my parents need to know this? What about my other friends? What are they going to do when, like, my porn history and my Twitter history seem entirely at odds with each other? And then you'll be like, you know what? I'll probably just go along with it. I'll just probably just go along with what they have to say because I don't really want this information to get out there. This type of information is power. It's not about like looking. It's not about like somebody knowing what you view. And I know for some of you that might be, but it's about power. The reason that they want access to everybody's information is so they have leverage over everybody to do what they want. And Republicans will tell you that what they want you to do is obey the law, and that's why they're using leverage. And I believe most Republicans, when you say that, But my question is, why do you suddenly trust the government to have that type of power? I believe you. I believe what you say, like you're tired of any crime at all, whatever it might be. You don't like immigration. There's not enough Jesus in the streets. I don't know. Whatever it is. I understand, and I'll take you at face value that is what you want. But when did you become people that trusted the government with that information? Is it only because you can clearly see that it's not targeting you? Is it only because you know that Donald Trump is such a fucking partisan that he would never turn that on you? Bad news, he would. We'll get to it later, but like I think that it's becoming pretty clear who this administration has control over and who they don't have control over. And we're going to do some conspiracy stuff today. I'm going to float some ideas knowing that I can't necessarily back all of them up, but like at this point we got to ask the question, and it's up to those people in Congress to decide if they're going to answer those questions. Last thing here. This is getting sick. Mark Warner, who is a Democrat from Virginia, and is pretty well respected across party lines. He's somebody who takes his job very seriously. He's not somebody that you see out in the media all the time playing the game. He's known for working on bipartisan legislation. He's very concerned about security. He's very concerned about cybersecurity, and he's also very concerned about oversight. So he has oversight because he's a member of Congress, and he's on the which board? I'm trying to remember. Does it say here? I don't know if he's on oversight. I'm trying to remember. Anyways, here's what he said. Weeks ago, I arranged an on-site meeting this coming Friday at the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency's headquarters in Springfield, Virginia, to connect with nonpartisan career intelligence professionals who serve our country every day. These are Virginians. These are my constituents, and I have held more than a dozen similar private listening sessions with NGA and other intelligence agencies in Virginia under both Democratic and Republican presidents, including during President Trump's first term. Engagements such as these are a core part of my responsibility to provide oversight and support to our intelligence community and hear from Americans who live in Virginia, and they have never been questioned or politicized until now. Over the weekend, conspiracy theorist Laura Loomer discovered the unpublicized, classified visit and launched a campaign of baseless attacks against both me and NGA Director Vice Admiral Trey Whitworth for hosting what has always been considered a routine oversight meeting. In response to Loomer's criticism, political appointees canceled the visits. Just the latest example of an administration seemingly desperate to please Loomer, a figure with a long history of extreme and outlandish fringe views, including 9/11 denialism, anti-Muslim harassment campaigns, and associations with white supremacists. Some of you in the chat, those are your people. This nakedly political decision undermines the dedicated, nonpartisan staff at NGA and threatens the principle of civilian oversight that protects our national security. Members of Congress routinely conduct meetings and on-site engagements with federal employees in their states and districts. Blocking and setting arbitrary conditions on these sessions sets a dangerous precedent, calling into question whether oversight is now allowed only when it pleases the far-right fringe. This should concern Republicans as well as Democrats. If routine oversight can be obstructed for political reasons, no member of Congress is immune. Let me be clear, I will never be deterred from carrying out my constitutional responsibilities. Why does Laura Loomer have power in your party? Anybody want to explain that to me? Anybody want to explain to me why Laura Loomer can get meetings canceled with members of Congress? Does she have some blackmail? Who would I choose, Biden or Trump? Biden. I would choose a sock over Donald Trump. I would choose anything that isn't an obvious authoritarian dictator. He's desperate to be an authoritarian dictator, and you guys are just on his nuts. I would rather have no president. I would rather have no leadership at all than Donald Trump. You cannot be at this point I love Donald Trump and not either one, just be a total cuck to him, or two, you're desperate for authoritarians. And there are groups, the Heritage Foundation folks, Matt Walsh, Charlie Kirk, these people, they all want authoritarianism. That's what they're cheerleading it. They're openly saying it now. They're talking about undoing the Civil Rights Act. They're talking about undoing women's rights to vote. They're talking they want to strip rights back and have authoritarian control. Think about what we're doing just in Congress. Think about these redistricting. Texas kicked it off and everybody's doing it. Texas is like, you know what? Fuck the voters. This is about control now. It's about Republicans versus Democrats. Fuck representation. Fuck democracy. I tweeted this the other day, but democracy's over. I hope we understand that. It's done. We no longer, like, we lived in a democratic republic or a constitutional republic, and there was like a semblance of democracy, but it's over now. If you are in a you're in a red state and you are a blue voter, you don't have a voice anymore. If you live in a blue state and you're a red voter, you don't have a voice anymore. You had a small voice and now it's gone because they're going to redistrict everybody out of this. This is what I don't get. Like, how are you guys sitting back pretending that we still live in a democracy? That things are just normal. This isn't fucking normal. We have the president of the United States using the National Guard or threatening to use well, he did use it in California, threatening to use it in other cities, which is a clear violation of our Constitution. You don't care. He's doing like all of our trade agreements and tariffs unilaterally without the consent of Congress. You don't care. They're undoing democracy in states all across this country through gerrymandering. Not even gerrymandering at this point, like just saying like we're a red state. And it will not affect any of you. And so we're left to believe like a couple of options. One, you're fucking stupid, which honestly, like in this scenario, I hope that you guys are fucking stupid. Because if you're not fucking stupid, you're authoritarian, which is silly. Because in authoritarian rule, if you're in this chat right now and you're a supporter of Donald Trump because you like authoritarianism, I got bad news for you. You're in the wrong fucking place. You're not high enough up on that totem pole. They don't give a fuck about you. And it won't matter that you supported them. Great. It's like supporting the Cleveland Browns. Cool, you got a Cleveland Browns flag. What did that get you? How are the playoffs the last like 50 years? Pretty good? Oh, no? Basically no playoffs? That'll be you. You're already doing it. Like Donald Trump yesterday, it was announced that his new acquisition in crypto netted him $5 billion. And MAGA were like, that's right, baby, we did it. No, bitch, you didn't do it. He did it. He used your vote to get himself $5 billion, and you guys celebrated like you were in on it. You're not in on this. You're not part of it. When he does these tariffs and he kills middle-class jobs, and when he kills farms and he hands all these tax breaks and all these loopholes off to his rich corporate buddies, they're getting more power, you're getting less power, and you're cheerleading it. So I hope to God that you're just fucking stupid. I really do. Like, that's best case scenario is that none of you understand any of this and you're just playing a team sport. But if you understand what's going on, if you understand what he's doing, and you understand the rights that are being stripped from Americans as we speak, and you still support it, I think you're a bad judge. I don't think you have thought this one all the way through. Because what happens? What happens when we have an oligarchy? What part of your life is going to get better? You think you're going to get money? You think they'll trickle it down, guys. The thing about all these billionaires in the Trump administration is they don't have to do this. They're doing it out of the goodness of their hearts because they've sat by and watched the middle class get screwed over and over, and they know that's the Democrats' fault. Well, they're literally just like counting their checks. Every day we have more tariffs, Howard Lutnick makes like a few million more dollars. Because they're just selling insurance on this shit. They're literally selling insurance on when this is going to be overturned. And so all these people are going to sue the federal government. So all these billions, Trump says trillions, but it's billions of dollars. If these tariffs get ruled unconstitutional, these people who have paid, American citizens who have paid, are going to sue the Trump administration. They're going to get their money back. Howard Lutnick's going to get a lot of that money back. It's just going to go into his pocket. And all he did was like keep the tariffs going. And then all these billions that you guys talk about that you've brought in that aren't, by the way, we're still deficit spending. We're still increasing deficit spending. It's coming nowhere near close to paying our debts. Nowhere near. Like we're still going to raise I think $2 trillion this year is what we're going to raise in debt. So cool. But then we're going to have to pay that back. And Donald Trump's going to trot out there and he's going to tell you that it was activist judges and liberals who fucked this up. And you're just going to buy it. You're like, oh, yeah, that's probably it. Yeah, it's probably all them. Why doesn't everybody just fall down and do what he says like we do? Because it doesn't work. This is unsustainable. You cannot rely on tariffs as your tax revenue when you're spending as much as you are. There's not enough, like just mathematically, you can't make enough in tariffs to pay for your spending. There's no way. It will not make up for this. This is going to be the highest debt spending president of all time. He's going to beat his own record. The 8-year total of Trump is going to be, if projections are right, 12 trillion, 13 trillion in debt. For an example, I think Trump put in like 4 to 6 trillion. I think Biden put on like I think it was like maybe 8 trillion, but if you take out COVID spending, I can look. And Biden did about half of that, even with 2 COVID stimulus. Crazy. Just do the math. How is it that Republicans can tell you, to my friends here, how is it that Donald Trump and these Republicans could go out in front of a microphone and they say, the American people are being taxed too much, so we're going to cut your taxes. And you're like, oh, good. And then they're like, we may even give some refund checks. And you're like, nice, because of Doge cuts, right? And then it turns out Doge says we're going to cut 2 trillion, and they cut about, was it like 30 billion total? That's all they could come up with. They weren't even close. And we fucked up a bunch. So like if you take the 32 billion that they saved, and then all the money that we've had to spend like fixing their problems, it's probably closer to like 20 billion. They weren't even fucking close. And then the same government that tells you we're going to be run so well that you're going to get these checks is now charging you tariffs. So they told you that you're being taxed too much, and then they raised your taxes. But they just tell you, like Donald Trump's just like, it's not a tax. It's not a tax. And you're like, okay, it's not a tax. You mean I'm walking around with blinders? And Democrats did what for us? What? You're walking with blinders. Davis, why are you talking about Democrats? Why? Are they in charge right now? Be a grown-up, bud. It's 2025. Republicans run the Congress. They run the White House. They've got the Supreme Court. If you can't defend what I'm saying without talking about Democrats, like, I'm grateful. It turns out, Davis, you might just be one of those fucking idiots. And that's good. That's how I hope that you're not intelligent enough to understand this and still disagree with it. I'm glad to see that you don't understand any of it, so you're just resorting to whataboutism. That's great. But this isn't going to work. Like, this math doesn't math. Arch said, I feel you, dog. What you think of the new mind goblin? I don't even know what that means. But, Jay, they just keep winning. They're winning so much. Joseph, thanks, 6 cents a billion. Appreciate you. Let me check over on the payment apps. Just a reminder, guys, we are crowdfunded, and it's going to be a long-ass day today. So I'm going to try and save my voice. Ash says, everybody poops. Thanks, Ash. I appreciate that. Glad I waited so long to read that to remind everybody of how this started. But we are crowdfunded, so if you can help us out, either super chats or other ways to gift, appreciate it. And make sure on TikTok that you're sharing this like out. I think we are under a current live restriction, which happens every day. So if you can share that out and then gift where you can, that'd be greatly appreciated. Let's get into the topic of the day. I'm going to show you some of the clips from this morning. We watched most of the press conference together this morning. I'm going to show you clips from that, as well as the stuff that I found last night. And my goal here is just, this is a cover-up. That's my opinion. And you guys get to decide now if what I present to you is indicative of a cover-up. I think it's pretty fucking clear that this is a cover-up. And I like the most ardent Donald Trump supporters, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, they are openly calling it a cover-up. I don't think that we should be surprised that women in the Republican Party are the ones that are standing up for this. I really don't think we should be surprised at all. They are the ones that, like, for them, they could make that leap. These women could make the leap. When you hear the stories of the victims, every woman in the world can make that leap of how that could have been them, how easily that could have been them, and especially if you come from like a patriarchal society. So if you grew up in a patriarchal church, or as a Republican, or with like really established gender roles where the man is the leader of the house, it's really easy for people to fall into that habit and trust the men in their life, especially like high-powered men. You're also taught like that you need to rely on men. that you need, like, you know, they complete you, that you need them to provide and protect for you. And so you're conditioned from an early age, like, to respect men, to follow orders. And then sometimes you find yourself in a position where now you're in a bad situation, but that's a very powerful person. And that very powerful person might threaten you, or might threaten your family. These girls are 16 years old. Like, I have friends. I grew up in a deeply religious community. The lengths that friends of mine went to cover up abuse because they like put themselves in a position, according to like our church, that was incorrect, the church would victim blame them. So if you're like, obviously not going to name names. I have a close friend, was a close friend. Somebody I dated, we were close friends. They've had a tough life. But went to break up with a boyfriend. It was late at night. It was like 11 o'clock at night. She snuck out of her house to meet with him. Or I think they had broken up, but he wanted to talk. Broke up. They go and talk. She winds up being assaulted in the car. And she never told anybody. And we talked about this about a year and a half ago, because she very publicly was involved in something else, and we kind of reconnected because I asked like if I could share part of her story. She was cool with it, just without names. But she told me about that and how like that started like the conditioning for her. And that started like the victim blaming in herself. Because she wasn't going to tell her parents, because her dad was just going to say like, this is why you don't sneak out. This is why we have rules. Fair. She didn't go tell her church leader, because her church leader was going to say, you shouldn't be doing that. Like, why are you in that position? And she would have faced church discipline. And then that church discipline would have also had like public shaming. And then if it came out like this guy who happened, his dad ran like a religious school, that guy would have just smeared her. So she didn't say anything. And it was really, it started, in her words, like a cycle of her just like flocking to abusive men, like the same type of people that would abuse her. Like it just became a cycle for her. That guy wound up in prison years later because enough people spoke up, and he had done that to multiple people, including like as an adult. Like when he was married at the time when he went to prison, but he had done that multiple times. And he used that protection. He taught at a religious school, and he used that and he weaponized that. All of his victims said the same thing, that he weaponized like their sexual purity against them, saying like, oh, we made a mistake. We did this. We shouldn't have done this, but like, we can't tell anybody, you know, like this will cause a problem with all, like, we both did this. We made a mistake, but we can't tell anybody else, or else we're both going to get in trouble. So when I see somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene or Lauren Boebert or Anna Paulina Luna or Nancy Mace, who are not only brought up in patriarchal societies, but also are active in a patriarchal party, they understand that power dynamic, even if they don't like ever publicly acknowledge it. They generally tend to like defend the men. But these are two instances now of this same group of women that should, if you are a Republican woman, I hope you take a look at these two instances. You have the instance today where you have Thomas Massie, who deserves a lot of credit for staying on top of this. And then you have Marjorie Taylor Greene. You also have Lauren Boebert, who wasn't there today, Anna Paulina Luna, and Nancy Mace, who they weren't there today. Those women, absent Thomas Massie, were also the only people present when Nancy Mace gave like a 40-minute speech on the House of the Floor talking about powerful men in South Carolina who hid like her fiance had hidden cameras in her home, recorded her performing and engaging in sex acts, and was passing it around to like a group of friends. And she shared that story, and it was only Lauren Boebert and I think Nancy Mace, Marjorie Taylor Greene behind her. None of the Republican men showed up. I didn't hear a single one of them address it. We fucking covered it. We played the whole thing here. Republican media didn't cover it. The only left-leaning news covered it. And now you have this. If you're a Republican woman, do you have any ounce of confidence that if a prominent Republican abuses you, that you won't be thrown under the bus fucking immediately? There's no way you have that confidence. I do want to, Ty, when you said Nancy Mace's post last night was making things about her, the reason I said I don't agree with that is because I watched it happen in real time. So the real time how this happened, Nancy Mace walked out of that hearing. She was bawling. Her face was swollen. Her eyes were red. She walked out. She didn't talk to the press, which is unusual because Nancy Mace loves the fucking press. And then there was a second story that came out from, what's the guy's name? That was fired from CNN. He's on TikTok all the time now. What's his name? Black guy, gay guy. What's his name? Shit, why did I forget his name? Somebody help me. Don Lemon. Don Lemon was outside, and she walked out, and he got video of her coming out, and she apparently bent over and had like a panic attack. And Don Lemon said that she said to him, like, please don't post that. And so he said, you can go find this video. He said, I promised I wasn't going to post this, but I just want to tell you what happened. That she was visibly shook. She came out. She was having a panic attack. She was escorted to her car. So all these news outlets were then out saying, like, Nancy Mace had a panic attack. And so her response, I think, trying to be fair to her, I think her response was a lot of people had said she had a panic attack. So she's like, yeah, I had a panic attack. I had a panic attack because it brought up a lot of emotions in me and my life, and I just couldn't handle it. I think that that's a valid response. I think, especially a victim of abuse, I think you'd be hard pressed to like keep it together in that moment. And so for today, like I'm going to defend these women, these MAGA women, who are the only people in the Republican Party that seem to have any sense of like a conscience. Is that from yesterday or today? Let's see. Tim, thank you for joining the dollar train. Did I miss any of those? Jeremy said, release the files. Chelsea said, heavy day. Just want to say, all survivors of abuse, I love you. No matter if I love you, you matter, and it was not your fault. You are not alone. God, I'm bad at reading today. My brain is fried. All right, moving on here. Here's Jim McGovern. And he's going to be talking about the House releasing files. So in response to the call for the discharge petition, and for Democrats loudly calling for the release of the files, and a few Republicans decided they're going to release these files. And they're like, don't worry, we'll release them. And they send out this release. And at first glance, the release looks huge. There's like something like 33,000 documents. And they're like, oh my God, like this is going to be huge. They released the stuff that Joe Biden declassified, the same stuff they put in the binders for like those conservative content creators, which was nothing. They re-released what they've already released, and then they made each page its own document to make it look like they were releasing more files than they really were. So, and it also makes it unreadable. It makes it virtually unsearchable. The cover-up is so fucking obvious that I honestly, like, I'm left to assume that everybody who doesn't think this is a cover-up, like, is cool with this type of abuse. Or you just think the ends justify the means. You're so afraid that this is going to take down Trump, and you think he has some master plan, that you're just like pretending right now that this isn't a cover-up. This is so obviously a cover-up. And here's Jim McGovern to explain it.
And what you're telling us that you're going to release...
This is only coming out my left earphones, so if you can't hear it, maybe switch headphones.
Release some of the files tonight. If I heard Mr. Garcia correctly, 97% of which is already out in public. So we get 3% that's new. I don't know what it's going to say. But I just don't understand what the big deal is. Why can't the administration just release the files? You can do the investigation, but just release all the files. Trump and the people he put in charge of the FBI and the DOJ promised that they would. And it's just kind of strange that they haven't done so yet. I mean, don't you think? I mean, we just want to know, what are they trying to hide? Why is this such a difficult thing for them to do? And what you're telling us that you're going to release some of the files tonight. If I heard Mr. Garcia correctly, 97% of which is...
All right, I already played that part. All right, so I didn't realize it started over. Okay, so That's how the cover up started last night. And I'm gonna take like what I prepared last night, and then I'm gonna interject some clips from the news conference this morning, and some other clips, because I think it paints the picture more broadly. So like the timeline here is gonna appear that I'm bouncing back and forth, and that's because I am. Because I want to show like where we were at last night, and then the proof that's come out this morning. Bruno said, "Happened to me. Essayed in college, and the LDS Church blamed me and told me to repent." Yeah, it is not an uncommon story. There's a content creator. I think I could probably shout her. I'll shout her out one day, because I forgot her name. She got pregnant in college, and to a very prominent BYU basketball player, and it kind of like. Then he got suspended from the team, and it kind of like ruined a season. It was their best team they ever had, and he was probably their second best player. And she's on TikTok, but kind of what happened to her, like she just got pregnant, and the whole world like looked at him like a hero because he repented and he came back for another year, and he publicly faced it, and then they all just demonized her like she was actually the problem, that she had like baited him into this. I'll see if I can find it. Okay, then this morning. Like, you can't tell me that there was anything more newsworthy this morning than the Epstein victims speaking in front of the press. And here's how it looked this morning: C-SPAN, Epstein survivors; CNN, Epstein survivors; MSNBC, Epstein survivors; ABC, Epstein survivors. This is Scripps News. I don't know what that is. I don't know if this is Scripps News. I don't know who that is. Fox News, Polish president on relationship with Trump. They didn't even cover it. Fox News wouldn't even cover this. There's no way. Like, Fox News is, one, not a news organization. They're a media organization. And if we know anything about Fox News, they're there for the clicks. You're telling me that Fox News thought they would get more clicks from the Polish president visiting Donald Trump? No, they're covering for him. This is just a massive, obvious fucking cover-up. And you have to keep the heat on here. And you have to keep the heat on all these MAGA people. Like, they shouldn't be able to talk about anything else. Because no matter what, going forward, we know that when they get caught or when something's uncomfortable, they will lie and they will cover for each other. And it's never been more obvious. Did Fox show the jets fly over D.C. for the Polish president? I don't know if they showed it or not. I read a tweet that they did. I haven't seen it. If somebody has it, but yeah. Then Trump had a flyover. Like, I've seen a lot of people at the White House. I don't think they normally do a flyover like that. That was bizarre. This was from this morning. This was from one of the survivors. I think it'll have her. I should have got her name. I forgot what her name was. Sorry. Here's what she said about Trump this morning. And all of a sudden, Trump's name gets dropped.
With Ghislaine Maxwell, and Jeffrey and Ghislaine were always very boastful about their friends, their famous or powerful friends, and his biggest brag forever was that he was very good friends with Donald Trump. He had an 8x10 framed picture of him on his desk with the two of them. Like, they were very close.
And whether this was intimidation or not, the effect was chilling. Like, the body language for all of these folks when it happened, it was wild. Like, the person right before, I think she had spoke right before, and it was a little bit more upbeat. Like, they were feeling like, we're doing this, we're unified. The body language when those planes flew over was alarming. And what she said right there is important. I think that was a shot at Donald Trump. I think that was a warning shot. Is that his biggest flex was that he always said you guys were so close. I think that was a warning shot there. Can I play it again? Sure. Pull that back up.
Maxwell, and Jeffrey and Ghislaine were always very boastful about their friends, their famous or powerful friends, and his biggest brag forever was that he was very good friends with Donald Trump. He had an 8x10 framed picture of him on his desk with the two of them. Like, they were very close.
Go ahead. Yeah. All right. Moving on here. Here's one of the attorneys. And this is something that Anna Paulina Luna referenced. And this is something that everybody in that oversight committee referenced, even including Mike Johnson. I'll show you the clip of Mike Johnson as well as James Comer. But every single person that came out of that meeting, they all referenced the same thing, that they saw documents that they were unaware existed and that were incredibly alarming. And so there's obviously something here that at least these members of Congress had never seen before and were not aware of. They're not saying what it is yet. They obviously want Congress to do. They're demanding Congress release the files, and if they don't, they're going to compile the list themselves. They're going to do it themselves. This is like if we're going to try and say what this was today. This was an opportunity. This was an olive branch. This was these victims standing up and saying, "Look, you guys can do the right thing, or we can fucking bury you." And obviously, they want the government to do the right thing. They want the protection of the U.S. government. They don't feel protected right now. This feels very dangerous to them. And so they're giving the government the opportunity to do the right thing. And once again, it's only Republicans who are like, we don't want to do this. Why? Tell me, Republicans that are in the chat here, why not release the files? I don't want to hear a fucking word about Joe Biden. In fact, we're going to mute the word Biden for the next 20 minutes. You guys don't get to talk about anything else. I need to know why Republicans would refuse to release these files. Why? If we're all crazy, if it's not a cover-up, why are they refusing to release these files? Why are they saying we don't want a law we don't want a bill, we don't want to sign on a bill that says we have to release these files? We just want to tell you that we will. Are we going to get quiet now? Republicans, don't get quiet now. I've been ignoring you guys for a while. I know we've been getting upset. Tell me, why would your wherever you live, if you're in a red state, why is your representative, if it's not one of these 4 women, why are they not signing on to this discharge petition? I don't know. Release the files. I'm with you. I hope you're a Trump supporter. Shut the fuck up, Peter. Get rid of Peter. Yeah, I am going to mute you. If you guys like, it's like herding cats here. You're children. I want a real answer. I don't want you to deflect to Biden. If you're upset that I said you can't respond with Biden and you're going to complain about that rather than answer the question, I think that answers the question. Bitches. I think you guys are bitches. I think you don't know. I don't think you have any fucking clue what's going on in this country. I think you are like just Donald Trump stans. And you don't want it, like, you're afraid that this might make somebody look bad. Or you're just afraid to like fall out of line and be independent. Jay and Jared genuinely worried that something's going to happen to these women. Look, that's why they did this together. That's why they have members of Congress. They are not necessarily safe, but they are more safe now. Anybody else? So nobody, not one person? Yeah, Davis is going to attack me. Davis, you're a bitch. Not one of them. This is alarming. Women, if you're watching, look at these men. Why won't you guys protect women? Because the host is mean. No, but nothing. Not a single Republican, not one of you guys is going to answer this. I'm looking through 3 chats right now. Not one of you. Most people wanted it 6 to 7 years ago. Okay, not an answer to the question. Thank you. Why are they not releasing it now? Nobody's going to save us. We need to wake up. No. I need answers. I need answers, please. Jen Starr said they know he's all over those files. Davis, you can answer this question. Davis, you have one more chance to answer the question I'm asking, and then we got to get rid of you because I'm tired of you. You're being a little bitch. Davis, why are they not releasing the files? Why do you think they're not releasing the files? The next thing you say has to be related to this. Otherwise, you get muted for the rest of this. You can watch and you can learn, but you're going to have to get muted. Where are we, Republicans? Where'd you all go? Just attacks on me? Okay, I'm paying attention, Alcaraz. I'm paying attention to you. What's your reason? I'm ready. This sucks that I have to talk to the chat. It really does suck that you guys none of you are ever willing to come up and have a conversation. It's very frustrating that I have to sit here and wait for your answers in the chat. I'm ready for your answer, though. Mossad and AIPAC funded politicians using the files as a blackmail scheme. Okay, so are all the Mossad and AIPAC funded politicians only on the right? Because every Republican or every Democrat is signing on to this. I'm paying attention, Alcaraz. I'm paying attention. You got about 30 more seconds. We might have to get rid of you too. Did Davis give us an answer? Where'd Davis go with? Well, yeah, why didn't Dems? Same reason they didn't. Okay, Davis needs to be muted for the rest of the live. Sorry, Davis. You did your best. incapable. Where's Alcaraz? Where is it? Because Epstein is a Mossad agent and the United States is under Israel occupation. Great. So does that mean that only the Republicans, then it's only Republicans who are at the mercy of Mossad? Is that why? Fine. I think that's reasonable. It's performative signing onto it. No, it's not. That's stupid. It's not performative to sign onto it. It's literal. It's what releases the files. What the Jesus? All right, let's explain what this is. The discharge petition makes it a law that these files have to be released. And what Republicans are saying is we don't want to sign a law that says they have to be released. We just want to promise you that we'll release them in due time. That's what Republicans are saying. It's not performative. It's the exact opposite of performative. Performative would be like a petition. We have a petition that we the undersigned say that we support victims. That's performative. This is actual legislation. This has actual consequences. If you get enough votes on the discharge petition, we get the files. So try again. So far what we have from Republicans is that their entire party, the men in their party, are all owned by Israel. That's pretty good. And the other answer was it's performative. It's a false dichotomy. All right, shut up. That's enough. That's enough out of you. I've wasted enough time. You can come up here and talk about it if you want to. All right. I covered the 33,000 individual images. Here was Here was the presser that came out yesterday. This is Representative. What is her name? Yasemin. Is it Ansari? I think it's Ansari. Yasemin Ansari. Another weird thing that happened yesterday is like Democrats' mics kept going bananas. I've tried it. This isn't a CNN thing. This is these microphones. I tried this. I've tried to pull this clip from many other sources, and it's all fucked up for a minute on all sources. I'm not alleging a conspiracy, but it was weird.
That we get justice and we get accountability. There were many themes that we heard today from the brave women who spoke to us. First and foremost, it is an absolute atrocity that the Trump administration allowed and sent over the president's former defense attorney to speak with a monster and to then publicize that interview and provide this monster with a platform to perpetuate her lies. The Trump administration needs to be held accountable for that. We need to demand that Ghislaine Maxwell never get a pardon from the United States government and actually serve out the time that she was given and that she deserves for the crimes that she committed. House oversight Democrats, and I'm so grateful to our leadership. We are incredibly lucky to have the leadership of Representative Garcia and, of course, Congresswoman Lee, who initiated the subpoena. But this is just the beginning. I think today made very clear that even those of us here who've been working on this and fighting for this, there is so much to this story that nobody knows. There are decades worth of stories and information and a cover-up of this capacity to have allowed for the abuse of over 1,000 women over the course of decades, and then stories that demonstrate that Epstein and others were able to perpetuate the abuse beyond, even after the public knew. We know there's a lot more to this. And I think that this is the most corrupt administration in American history, and this story shows it.
I love this. Only here to say from their mouth, actually, no real proof from these women talking. Well, there was enough proof to convict Ghislaine Maxwell. There was enough proof to convict Jeffrey Epstein, and they're saying that they're victims of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. So what does that say about you? That, like, you don't believe women just because of what they say. You also don't believe women if the person that they accuse is found guilty in court. It sounds like there's not a scenario where you'll ever believe somebody who's a victim, and I think that fairly illustrates the problem that we have here. These people have all testified. They're the reason that Epstein was in jail. They're the reason Maxwell is in jail. It's devastating to see shit like this from men. It really is. Like it's devastating. I don't know who hurt you. I don't know what's going on in your life. I don't know why the fuck you think women are so pitiful. But to come on here and say like you're defending Maxwell and Epstein now. I don't believe them. It's probably Maxwell and Epstein are probably innocent. The fuck? Yeah, that's where the GOP's come. They're full circle to the point now where Vladimir Putin's the good guy, Jeffrey Epstein's the good guy, Ghislaine Maxwell's is good. The worst human beings on earth are all the good guys for you now. I wonder how that happened.
More than anything. So we will keep fighting in honor of the survivors who are brave enough to put themselves out there for truth and justice, and we will not back down until there is full accountability and prevention from this ever happening again. And with that, I will hand it over to my colleague, Congressman Lynch. Thank you so much.
I'll get back to this press conference with a few things, but I wanted to skip some, and I want to go to Melanie Stansbury. She was incredible. She always is. Again, her microphone's going to be screwy, so sorry.
The thing about being a victim of assault, of sexual violence, is that it not only steals your sense of self, it steals your dignity, it steals your ambition, it steals your hopes, it steals your dreams, and it steals your sense of personhood. And what we heard today is from a half dozen victims, some of whom have already pursued both civil and criminal suits against both Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, as well as from several who have never told their stories in public before. But before I turn to the substance of the case itself,
I also want to point out one thing. I don't know if she's here. I saw Librarian Amber in here in our earlier stream, and fair enough. Like I said, she'll talk to Marjorie Taylor Greene when Marjorie Taylor Greene admits what happened to E. Jean Carroll, but like this is the same thing, and this is why women say this about you. That's why you see in here like the bear, always the bear. This is why you see these TikTok backgrounds that say it's all men until it's no men, because like everybody agreed, everybody in the world agreed that Jeffrey Epstein, except for like Dershowitz, everybody agreed that this guy was a sexual abuser, a serial sexual abuser, that he sexually abused children. Everybody agreed with it. Until today, until it started, or I guess the last couple of months, when it started sticking to Trump a little bit. And when Trump started to act real weird about it. And now you guys are willing to change your entire opinion. You think all these people just lied about Epstein? Is that what we're saying now? Bro, this is why there's a male loneliness epidemic. Okay? I understand you guys when you say that there's a male loneliness epidemic. I also understand when you flip through TikTok and you see shit that's like it's all men until it's no men, and you're like, that's not fair to loop all men in together. I get that. I get that would be frustrating to hear. But then look at their reality. Look at the reality of these women. Multiple men in here are telling these victims of Jeffrey Epstein, no, I don't believe him. So how are you ever going to be believed if you're a woman? What do you have to record? You have to record your own assault? Then these guys will be like, oh, well, she thought to record it, so obviously it wasn't an assault. There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing these women can do to make you care that they were abused as children. This is the fucking problem, guys. Like, you're so goddamn sensitive about things. You'll never just back out and look at the whole picture. This is a pride thing for a lot of you. A lot of you like Donald Trump. A lot of you have aligned with the right, and the right, Donald Trump and the right are obviously covering this up. They're obviously making sure this didn't happen. They for fuck's sakes, he flew planes over them today. Let's not even pretend that wasn't on purpose and that wasn't planned. Let's not pretend that for 1 second. Why won't Donald Trump release the fucking files? Why did they go out and tell you that, oh, it's these judges that are actually not releasing the files? No, it's not. It's the Department of Justice. It's Pam Bondi. It's fucking Kash Patel. Dan Bongino tried to quit over this. They replaced him, essentially. Dan Bongino has been completely silenced over this. You understand? Like, you're not gonna undo this shit. For everybody that listens to these fresh and fit, I tell you, I can promise you one thing. Demonizing women and refusing to listen to them will not get you any closer to having like a happy relationship. And you guys would you look at what's in front of you, and many of you would rather adopt authoritarianism and adopt a patriarchal society where women don't have rights and they are forced to rely on you, because that's the only reason you can get them to be around you. And you won't do anything to change that. We can't do anything to just change the way that like women are heard. For fuck's sakes, Donald Trump got a microphone every time he is accused of anything. He gets a microphone as much as he wants. Nobody ever says like, I don't believe him. He's targeted. None of you. You all side with Donald Trump every fucking time. When there's allegations against Matt Gaetz, you're with Matt Gaetz. When allegations against Trump, you're with Trump. Allegations against Jim Jordan, you're with Jim Jordan. Allegations against Elon Musk, you're with Elon Musk. Allegations from Nancy Mace about unnamed men in South Carolina, well, I don't know. She kind of seems hysterical to me. A bunch of people like the world's most renowned, the world's most recognizable child abuser, who everybody 6 months ago agreed abused children. Now you don't even believe his victims. This is why I fucking hate those alt-righters. I don't know. Like, by the way, they're using you for clicks. They're using you for money. They know that this isn't true. They know that that if they just keep you angry, you'll keep coming back and you'll keep feeding them money. But they're not going to tell you the truth. And there's not enough of you guys. Like, you're not going to win this war. You're not going to be the authoritarian rulers. You're going to spend 5, 10, 15, 20 years of your life just being an absolute fucking dipshit. Just being an absolute fucking monster to women. Because you think that's the only way forward. The only way where you're going to be palatable to women is if you have full control. I saw a new polling yesterday that like 60% of women in this country say voting MAGA or identifying as MAGA is a good enough reason not to date a man. And you guys get in your feelings about that. Oh, you won't accept my politics? No. Why would they? If you're a man right now and you have, like, say that there's a woman in here that you're thinking about dating and they see what you're doing with Jeffrey Epstein's victims, do you think that it would be sensible for them to ever be alone in a room with you fucking ever? No. This is why they don't trust you. This is why they don't like you. This is why MAGA is a red flag, because you guys as a group refuse to ever acknowledge that women are victimized by men. Ever. You'll never, ever admit it. Unless it's a lib, right? Like you'll talk about Bill Clinton. His was consensual, but you guys impeached him for it, and you still talk about Bill Clinton. You guys you'll talk about Anthony Weiner, and I agree with you on Anthony Weiner. You guys will talk about Cuomo, and I agree with you on Cuomo. You'll talk about Barney Frank, and I agree with you on Barney Frank. But as soon as it's a Republican, suddenly it's these awful women.
I want to say to anyone out there who is currently...
Let's see. Fuck Patriarchy says, thank you. You're speaking to men who only listen to other men. That's true. That does suck, too. It sucks. Also, men, if you shouldn't be getting this message from me. I'm not the best delivery system for messaging from women. Could you just talk to them and recognize that, like, what they're saying is their reality? That if 60% of women are saying like MAGA is a red flag, there's probably a reason for that. Instead of just saying like that's not fair, maybe just ask a question. What do you mean by that? Why would me wearing a MAGA hat be a red flag? And they're probably going to tell you about all the instances where women were abused and you guys didn't believe them. That's probably what they're going to tell you. Jensar said, for all of us women who've experienced this, I love you. Thank you.
Experiencing abuse of any kind, we see you. We are here fighting for you. And we will fight for justice for every person who is experiencing sexual violence in this country. And that is what this case is actually about. But I want to be clear that what we heard today is a cover-up. And it is a cover-up of epic proportions, a cover-up involving the United States government, the justice system, rich and powerful individuals, a cover-up potentially involving foreign countries and foreign actors. And yes, here today in this House, as our colleagues are up in the House chamber in the Rules Committee, a cover-up by the Republicans in this chamber. Because as you will find out in the coming days and weeks, this goes all the way to the top.
Jesse said there's no way for a woman to tell just by looking at a man that he isn't a predator. That's why they say it's all men. It's safer to assume. It fucking sucks. Man, can we just be better? The fuck do you care? Somebody tells you a story about their abuse. Why are you even questioning it? Even if somebody told you a story that wasn't real, what's the point? How are you going to prove that? How are you going to get to the bottom of that? I agree that if you're going to be thrown in jail for something, you should have a court case. But for the love of God, like, can we just make it easier for people to report abuse? Can we just have a system that makes it easier? If you're worried about men who are wrongfully accused, the best way for men who are wrongfully accused to have justice is to have a system where it's obvious, right? To have a system and that says like, oh yeah, we believe women until it's not obvious, right? Just do that. Sometimes it happens. It happened at Duke, the lacrosse kids. Like, those were false allegations. Those got undone. It happens. But I don't know why the default position for most of you seems to be never believe women. Ever, ever, ever. Like, it's almost like you require definitive proof, which is almost never going to happen. Like, these are sexual assaults. You're not gonna have video evidence. A lot of times you're not going to have physical evidence. Even if you do have physical evidence, like, you guys don't believe that consent wasn't given. You're not going to have evidence of like consent being given or not in these scenarios. You seem to just always find these ways to get out of just believing the story. But I think like sometimes I can see the rationale in certain claims, but like, we're talking about Jeffrey Epstein here. You guys are trying to play like, I don't know about Jeffrey Epstein. I don't know if he did that. Are you out of your minds? Of course he did that. But there's all these victims, dead bodies. Now we're saying that like foreign intelligence officials are involved. Anna Paulina Luna is much more honest about this. I'll get to that in a minute.
So let's be clear about that. There has been a systemic failure of the justice system for decades. A systemic failure to hold people who are powerful and have money to account, and that has allowed not just hundreds but potentially thousands of women, not only in the United States but around the world, to be bought, sold, and trafficked for sex, not only by Jeffrey Epstein but by his associates and his rich and powerful friends. And as these stories come forward, whether they're stories that have already been told, they're stories in those FBI files that have not been released by the Department of Justice and which they must release because of the subpoena, or whether they are stories of victims that have not yet come forward, we will hold you all accountable for this miscarriage of justice, for the abuse of these women, and the abuse of this institution to try to cover it up. Because there happens to be a very powerful person at the top who doesn't want these stories out. So that is why we subpoenaed these records. That is why these victims were here today to bravely tell their stories. And whatever justice looks like in the coming days and weeks and years, we will follow every thread. We will follow every piece of evidence. We will follow every bank record. We will follow every investigation. We will follow every court order, and we will make sure that those who were abused by these men are held accountable.
Stansberry is incredible. Glad to see her taking the mic. Let me go backwards here. I didn't answer your question. Ty said Taco has had enough time to alter the files, right? I don't know, because I think one of the problems that they have with these files is that we have forensic records. So if the files are edited, if they're removed, we have that. But The other thing is they don't have control over what's in Epstein's estate, as far as we know. It definitely seems like what the Trump administration's been doing is just stalling and trying to get rid of things. I mean, this is exactly what they did with the classified documents. They just pretend it's not happening, move things around, muddy the waters. And what happens is like when they ignore it, there's enough MAGA people that start to change their opinion that it works for them, and that's what we see here. So I don't know. I think that we would have a trail, but we also have like a lot of these things have been. A lot of this evidence have been entered into courts. There's also attorneys that have copies of these. It's not like there's just one copy, right? It's not like you can delete the file and this evidence no longer exists. The evidence is in other places as well, and especially if you delete it and then you find evidence that should have been there, that's going to be a real problem. Karen said, Republicans that back Trump, it's a cult. They don't know better. Amy said Trump could be a hero here, but won't because he's part of it or people close to him are. I agree. Like, this is a home run for Trump. If Trump wanted, if there's powerful people here and Trump's not one of the people that's getting in trouble, this would be a home run for him. He could I mean, legitimately, he would be seen as an American hero. He would. Millions of Americans would change their mind on Trump overnight and say, this guy did what was best for the country. He sold out the rich and powerful, and he released this. And he could do all of that, and he could advocate for it. But now he's even at a point, he's dragged his feet for so long that even if this discharge petition gets the required signatures, and even if Trump signs it into law, there's a lot of guessing now. Like, why didn't you just do this before? Why did you drag your feet? He's going after people. He called it a hoax again this morning. He said that this is a hostile act. So I don't know. Amy Lynn said, if you can stomach it, listen or read the Katie Johnson court filings against Trump and Epstein. It's so horrific and graphic. Yeah, I've read it. It's brutal. Asa Sophia said, thanks for standing up for us women. I feel like I'm just reporting the news. I appreciate you saying that, but I'm reporting what a bunch of courageous women are doing. So I don't know that that's me. Karen said, the individuals saying they're not naming names, you need to understand they are in fear for their life. They're coming forward anyway, even though the abusers carry big axes. Buck Patriarchy said, thank you. You're speaking to men who only listen to men. I think I read that one. And I read that one from Jen. Jesse said, there's no way for a woman to tell. I read that one. Here we go. Amy said, sadly, many times women have a feeling and have been taught to ignore it. Ty said, not sure if you answered my super chat. I think I got that now. Shane said, love what you do. Major respect. Thank you, Shane. BR6X3 said, it's wild these incels still don't get why women avoid them. Similarly, how Trump avoids exercise. MT Clark says, I can't leave a message. Send it to Jen on Discord and she can read it. What's up, Jen?
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I mean, these comments are telling. This is exactly what we're talking about. I mean, the YouTube comments, it's in all over. I mean, Mutts are doing a good job of managing them, but it's pretty gross.
One more real quick. Betsy said, great show. Thanks for being a safe space for women. Yeah, Jen, that's Jen's doing. Jen makes it safe. Everybody knows Jen's in charge here. And if I step out of line, I will cease to exist. So you guys can probably thank Jen.
We've got good mods who manage it, but yeah. So, anyways, we are. So, how late? I know you started a little late today because you had things you were handling. What time are you expecting to go?
We'll probably still go through like 1 or 1:30.
Okay. So we do the show each day, Monday through Friday, from 9:30 to 1 Pacific time. So we have a gift goal in the top left-hand corner, which RTP is going to update here in a second. That balance gets knocked out with Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats. All go towards knocking down that remaining balance. We do this. It is our job, so we are crowdfunded. And Jay's says we can't take outside money. It's his rule that I let him have. So unfortunately, we don't have any outside funding besides everybody here. So that's how we keep this going every day.
That was a pretty honest moment you just had right there, Jen.
I'm always honest.
Jen doesn't like that I don't want outside money. We've argued about that a bit.
Like it. I'm just saying. I'm all for being honest about it. I don't have any issues, but we're just not taking any presently.
Jen hasn't won that argument yet, is what you're saying. Got it.
We haven't been offered any either. But,
that's true. Yeah, it's easy to be principled when literally nobody has ever offered it to you. So yeah, fair.
So that it hasn't been offered. But anyways, if you guys disagree with RTP, you can come up and talk to him. And how you do that is if you look at the Venmo username, that is my Discord. If you want to DM me on Discord, I can bring you up to talk to Jay in real time. Like I said, just message me on Discord and I can bring you up and have a conversation with him that way. If you haven't already subscribed to us, please do so wherever you're watching. We do members only events. If you'd like to join those, you have to be a member to do so. And then check out our link tree in our bio. We're on most social media platforms, and we have merch, JSON, Cameo, and we upload these episodes to Spotify. So there's all that. Look, which I found some different jokes. Why do vegetables and fruit make you go to the bathroom?
I don't know.
Because they are produce.
They are
produce.
I got that one. I liked that one. Thank you. We are produce here. I just downloaded another spy app to disagree with Jay. That's pretty good, man. Sully said, thanks, Jay, Jen, and your mods. You're all incredible. Love you all. Thank you. Popcorn Cat Crew fan says outside funding. Thank you. There's our outside funding. I want to show you this. This is what is her name? Miss Laguerre Fernandez, and she's questioning Comer. And the reason that she's questioning Comer right now is that Comer is towing the Trump line. Comer and Mike Johnson clearly are taking their direction from Trump, and that appears to be like who the men have to listen to. The women apparently aren't listening to Trump, but Comer definitely is. And so Comer's trying to play a fast one. And again, like, this is why it's a cover. You would never accept this in any other scenario. But Comer is saying we do not need to sign a discharge petition. There doesn't need to be any legally binding agreement that we signed. Just fucking trust us. And the guy that's saying just trust us is the guy that like is representing this administration. And let's talk about what this administration has done in the name of transparency. They say they're the most transparent administration in history. When it comes to the Epstein files, they made binders and gave them only to conservative content creators that said Epstein Files Phase 1. And when those content creators opened up those binders, what they found were heavily redacted documents that had already been declassified by Joe Biden. So they said, we're transparent because we're going to give you information that Joe Biden released to you. So just so we're clear, like, when people are playing the game, like, did Joe Biden release it? No. Should he have? Yes. Did he release some? Yes. So he's a little better than Trump. Also, it doesn't appear that he's on the Epstein list or he's friends with Epstein at all. There doesn't seem to be any connection at all between Joe Biden and Jeffrey Epstein. So, like, Biden still not good. Me, not good. Let's be honest about that. The Republicans that come in here and say, you guys didn't care about this until it was Trump, you are correct. And that's a fucking mistake. That's my bad. Right? Like, I've read stuff, but no, when it first came out, I dismissed a lot of this as like QAnon conspiracy theory. I really did. Because the people that were pushing it were also the people that were pushing Pizzagate, and I just didn't listen to them. And I didn't care enough. I didn't know that Alex Acosta had cut him a sweetheart deal. I didn't know that. Just like 3 years ago, if you asked me what was going on in Israel, I didn't know. Right? You can change. You can care about something now, even though you didn't care about it before. But it seems like the only reason you bring that up is so that you can justify why you cared about it before, but you don't now. So you can say, oh, I don't have to care now because you didn't care before. Whataboutism, equal footing. Now I'm good. And that's a weird way to operate your life, where you're just constantly like comparing yourself to the worst among us. If you're looking at me and you're like, you didn't care, so now I don't have to care. Dude, what? If you criticize me and say I didn't care before, you're right. I deserve that criticism. That's a win for you, especially if you were talking about it. If you've been talking about it for 7 years, you get to expose me for not caring about this stuff early enough. But instead, you use it as an excuse to not care about it anymore, which is fucking wild. Because once I got the information, I cared. What essentially you're saying is that you had the information and you cared, but since we didn't care soon enough, now you don't care anymore. I think that's worse. I think that's significantly worse. I've learned more about Jeffrey Epstein in the last 6 months than I did all the years previously. I own that. It's my bad. I didn't give enough space for these women. I don't think I didn't believe them, but I didn't hear them. I didn't listen to them. I didn't go out of my way to hear from them. In fact, like, let's be honest, they're testifying. It took them literally getting like people in Congress to stand with them and testify in front of Congress for me to actually know their stories or hear their stories. So it's a fair criticism of me. It's a fair reflection that like men on the left also are a problem, that we don't hold these spaces near enough. All of that criticism's fair, and you should direct it at me. But if you're only using that criticism to deflect from the fact that you no longer care about this, then fuck you. Like, sorry. There's like me and you're down here. And then there's all these other people who have cared the entire time and still care now. And kudos to them. And we all should have been more like them. But we weren't. Here's Leger Fernandez, though. She's going to talk with Comer. And the cover-up is laughable at this point. She's laughing, saying, like, you're telling me that you want us to just take your word for something instead of, like, put it in writing? Why would we do that?
Now, Chairman Comer, this
is also only coming out of my left earbud, so sorry.
Resolution would give you, and only you, the power to decide what information in these documents is redacted or withheld. Is that correct?
Well, we're trying to do this in a bipartisan manner. Our staffs are communicating. I think, I hope Mr. Garcia would agree. I think our staffs, he's new to the job, and I think our staffs are working together really well, and hopefully we'll continue to work well. Like I said, I want this to be bipartisan.
So, Chairman Comer, I appreciate that fact that you said you want to work on a bipartisan.
Can anyone explain who isn't acting in a bipartisan manner? We have Ro Khanna, a Democrat, and Thomas Massie, a Republican, working bipartisanly for this discharge petition. We have all Democrats and 4 Republicans who have signed on to this discharge petition. That's bipartisan. It seems like Comer's the only one not acting in a bipartisan way. It seems like he's acting in a very, very partisan way.
Partisan basis on this, but the resolution does not require you to consult with the ranking member.
The only thing that's,
and if you want to be bipartisan, would you be willing to accept an amendment to?
I'm making a pledge to work with Mr. Garcia.
A pledge is a wonderful thing, but an amendment that actually puts it into writing would be great. Would you be willing to accept that amendment?
I think the resolution's good, and hopefully we'll vote it out in a bipartisan manner.
Okay, so you're not willing to actually put it in writing that you will, that the ranking member will be consulted before you approve.
I guarantee that.
So they're talking about what they'll release, and James Comer is essentially saying I should have authority to release what I want to release. I should have the authority to redact what I want to redact. And we're doing this bipartisanly, but I'm the only person with authority to determine what gets released and what doesn't. That's why she's asking. He's like, I promise we'll do it bipartisanly. And she's like, who the fuck? Why the fuck do I care about that? Nobody trusts anybody right now. Why would anybody in Congress be trusted right now? And he's telling you have to trust me. I think James Comer's in trouble. I don't know why. I'll show you a clip in a minute where he is fidgety as fuck. But like, tell me that. Please explain how this isn't a cover-up. The leading member of the Oversight Committee is saying, trust me, bro. And they're like, no, we want to see, like, we want transparency. And he's like, we're so transparent that you don't even need to count my work. Don't even check our work. In what scenario does that work out in life? I'm so honest that you can't even look into anything I do. There's only one place I know of that this happens, and it's in every fucking cult that has ever existed. And cults are leveraged however you get that leverage. Maybe somebody has dirt on Comer. Maybe it's just a power thing. Maybe he thinks his proximity to Trump is what gives him power. And it is, because Comer has been a fucking lapdog. He's had no problem trotting out there investigation after investigation only to have it fly in his face. He spent 3 years trying to prove that Joe Biden was a criminal, and the end result was $0.00 flowed back to Joe Biden. Hunter Biden wasn't even accused of a single solitary crime by the Oversight Committee. They found absolutely nothing. And that's all they tried to do for 4 years. They've now released like multiple documents that they claim shows like a conspiracy by the Obama administration, and we read them live on air, and it's like, wait, what? It said that they didn't like the way, like it said that they need to annotate a little bit better. They're not a conspiracy. So he's been a loyal lapdog, and I think he's afraid to like bite the hand that feeds him. But for anybody who's not just a total cuck, you cannot be watching this and going, you know what? What we need more in this government is pinky promises. I'm tired of them writing shit down and having it in writing to make sure that they're transparent. I think we just need more pinky promises. That's what we need more of. That's what you're defending today.
I'll consult with them a heck of a lot more than Elijah Cummings and Carolyn Maloney consulted with me when they were chairman of the committee.
I'm not asking about past. I'm asking about what's this. And this is the problem. And the reason why we're concerned about this is, Chairman Comer, I've read accounts of you describing yourself as a Trump man.
I mean,
yeah.
Yes.
I support the president.
You support the president, and this is why.
Then why didn't you say I support the president? Why'd you say I'm a Trump man? You know why? Because that got you a nice pat on the head from Trumpy Bear. You know Trump saw that, and Trump sent him a message later like, I really do like you. And he's like, showed his wife, baby, he said he likes me. She's like, that's great. Can you stop masturbating in front of me to pictures of Donald? No, baby.
It would be important to have in writing the bipartisan nature, because we want there to be bipartisanship so that it is not a
I want it too, but you all are making a good case up here. But I'm hopeful that Mr. Garcia is going to see past the behavior of the Democrats on the Rules Committee.
Madam Chair?
They're not making a good case? You're saying, trust me, bro. You can't check my work. I'm trying to be bipartisan. I'm trying to be honest, but you guys keep asking for transparency, and that's just not going to happen. That's not how this goes. We don't do transparency in the GOP. What we do is we hear what you say, we completely ignore it, and when this meeting's over, we call Donald and we say, how should I respond? And Donald's going to tell me to talk about Obama or Democrats, so I'm going to do it. I didn't hear a fucking word you said, because I only listened to Donald.
Chairman Comer, I was speaking. And I think that it is important that we have people looking at these docs that are not a Trump man, so that we can make sure that everything.
Hey, Foggy, we do care about Democrats on the list, which we don't even know that exists. If you want us to care about who's on the list, release the fucking list. Okay? We can't care about who's on the list until we have a fucking list. So if a list comes out and it's like Obama, Biden, Clinton, who have Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, if they're on the list when it comes out, and then we're like, oh, it's only Donald Trump, then you can criticize. Okay? If there's a whole list of people and you come back on this stream and I'm not talking about the Democrats on the list, then you've got a good fucking point, don't you? But until we have a list, what the fuck are you talking about? All we're talking about today is, can we please see the list? And you're like, don't show them the list because they don't care. Bro, cock a doodle-doo. You must be over 18 if you're here. How are you a fucking an adult with that opinion? These guys don't care, so I don't want any of it to be out there. Okay. Well, you're so full of shit. Fuck you. You know the real answer. You know exactly what the real answer is. You're afraid that it's going to look bad. You can't explain any of this. You can't figure out why it's you guys that are blocking the release of this list. And you will do anything inside your brain to not acknowledge that point. You're out of your fucking minds, Republicans. This is why you get accused of being in a fucking cult. Because we're asking for the information and you're saying we can't have the information because we won't care enough. Therefore, we don't need to know who these rich and powerful people were who were trafficking human beings because the Democrats won't care enough. Who cares if we do care? If there's other people on that list, prosecute them. Who cares if we don't care? By the way, if Donald Trump's on that list and none of you care, guess what? Doesn't fucking matter if we prosecute him. If you prosecute him and he goes to jail, no, you guys won't admit it anyways. We already know what you do when Donald Trump goes to jail, has a court case, gets found guilty by a jury of his peers. We know you won't believe it anyways. We're used to that. You can't say that about us because I don't see anybody defending any of the Democrats who have gone to jail. Not one. Your whole administration is full of people that have gone to jail and got pardoned for no fucking reason. So don't give me that. You know exactly why you're saying what you're saying. Every one of you knows why you're defending, like why you're attacking us today. You're attacking us because you don't have answers for this. You know it's a cover-up. You just don't know why, and you're just trying to buy that time. Buy that time. Guys, stick with it. Stay with Trump. I believe in Trump. Trust the process. Trust in Trump. The truth will come out. He has a reason for this. He always has a reason for this. He's playing 4D chess. He's 5 steps ahead. It's actually a plan to get the Democrats to care about it, and then we'll release it, and then there'll be nothing to talk about. Cool. Let's say that if it turns out Donald Trump was playing 4D chess, and this is for the Democrats here, people who voted, just anybody who voted for Kamala Harris. I'm going to ask you a question. If a list came out, and the top of the list was Bernie Sanders, AOC, Kamala Harris, who I got to pick all the people you guys hate, Republicans hate. Jasmine Crockett, Stansfield, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, whoever. The whole list. Every single member of Congress and every single member of the Senate with a D next to their name, if they were all on the list, would you guys support removing them from office and throwing them all in jail? Hands up. Even just like removing them from office. If in the files they're on the list that they're with abused children, would you support, hands up, removing every one of them from office? See the difference here? You see the difference? This is the difference between a cult and not a cult. These are free thinkers here. They don't fucking care because whatever you like, whatever you say about our politics, you can say that we're wrong. Maybe we are wrong. Maybe everything we believe is wrong. But there's principles. We bury our own. When somebody on the left fucks up, they get buried. When somebody on the right fucks up, they get promoted. And take America out of it. Let's just look over at, let's say, who do you guys hate? Russia. You don't hate Russia enough, but we'll use Russia anyways. Actually, let's use Israel. This just happened in Israel. You had that guy, that Israeli intelligence agent that was over here in America, got caught in a sting for underage with underage children. And he went back, he got help, flew back to Israel, and they just brought him back, and they're pretending it didn't happen. And the people of Israel are like, no, that didn't happen. We're just going to ignore it. We have bigger things to worry about. Every one of us that doesn't like, every one of us that views Israel as like evil, every one of us is like, obviously Israel's covering for this guy. Obviously Israel doesn't care. Like, obviously Benjamin Netanyahu does not care about protecting children. Otherwise he would let this play out. And everybody who can see clearly on Israel, you would all say the same thing. And why would they protect that person? Why would Netanyahu protect that person? One, because it protects him, like it protects his reputation. But two, it gives him control. Authoritarians surround themselves with people that they can blackmail, with people that they can control. That's why every time somebody gets in legal trouble with the GOP, they suddenly become good friends with Trump, because now he gets to control them. Now he gets to say, like, I pardoned you, or I have the ability to keep you out of jail. I have all this power. Do what I say. There should be no questions as to like what happened to JD Vance, what happened to Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio once said, "I will not sleep until we make sure that a con man does not occupy the office." And then here he is, like, let's do everything he said, guys. Hey, Jen.
Hey, we've got Alcazar waiting. Oh,
okay.
BC.
All right, let me read comments real quick. Guys, remember, Jen's going to guilt trip the fuck out of you during this debate because I'm going to forget to read comments. And then we're going to get close to the end. And so Jen's going to give you a hard time. Here's my promise. I promise to keep this topical if it moves off of today's topic, because I do want to talk about Epstein. I do want to talk about this cover-up. I'll cut the debate short. So you have my word on that. The last time we talked about religion for like an hour and a half, and that was a giant fucking waste of time, and I owe you an apology for that. But if this doesn't stay on topic, then I promise to end the debate and get back to this stuff, because I don't want to take away from that.
And you're also going to update the gift goal total so we know where we're at.
I'm also going to update the gift goal total so you know where we're at. Okay. Thanks, Jen. Alaka. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. I don't know if you've done this before. You'll want to turn off your stream because there's a delay. So turn off your stream and just listen through Discord. Otherwise, there'll be a bunch of feedback.
How's it going, man?
Good. How are you?
Good. Are we still talking about the
We're talking about
why
the
Republicans
cover up? Yeah.
Why Republicans don't want the Epstein files released?
Yeah.
Okay. When you say that, do you mean our sitting officials or the average person?
I'm talking about elected Republicans. Why do we think that they're not releasing these files? Like, why are they stalling this?
Oh, okay. Well, then I don't disagree with you at all. Then this might be a waste of time.
Well, why do you think they're not getting more pushback then? What? I guess the people in the chat here, like, what?
You
what?
mean?
Yeah. Where's the pushback here?
What do you mean they're not getting more from who?
I don't know. I guess they're constituents. It seems like not a single male Republican outside of Thomas Massey wants this released. If you had to guess, why do you think they're sitting on it?
I think it's ties with Israel. I've Republican or Democrat, I've never actually met somebody that didn't want the Epstein files released. You know,
well,
nobody actually cares about Donald Trump. And from like my life experience, I've never met somebody that was like married to the man. So
why do you think the party is then?
Because their personal involvement.
And so you think it's their personal involvement, like because they're paid by Israel?
Well, that or blackmailed by them. You don't have to be paid. You could, it could be negative.
How would you explain then that like 100% of Democrats who also take, like, just none of them are being blackmailed? There's not a single Democrat that is?
I think I think they're making a vote for it because it will not pass.
What do you mean it won't pass? They only need like 2 more people.
Do you think their goals will be released?
Sorry, it keeps. Is it switching between like back and forth from your Bluetooth? It cut out right there.
Yeah, sorry.
That's all
Let me
right.
put on Do Not Disturb. I keep getting a phone call.
You're good.
Awesome. Sorry, now what did you say? How do you think it's going to play out? Do you think the Epstein files will be released and justice will be served, or do you think they're going to feed us like the normal hubbub, nothing?
I don't know, but like, let me ask you a question. Were you a Trump voter before?
I didn't vote for anybody the first time around.
Okay.
This time I voted Donald Trump.
Okay. If this would this change your view of who you thought he was?
I didn't. Not really.
So you thought he was the kind of person who would cover this up when you voted for him?
Well, no, I always thought he was a New York asshole. Didn't think he was a great guy, but I just had bigger mistrust for Kamala Harris.
Yeah, but obviously she didn't do this, right? Like, so if knowing that he's covering this up, this wouldn't change your opinion on him?
I mean, it's you have to have faith in the system to begin with. You know what I mean?
No.
I don't think we have a true two-party system. I think when people vote,
Yeah. Wait. Hold on. No, you gotta answer the questions more directly than that. I'm wondering. Like, Donald Trump is clearly covering up sexual abuse from very powerful people. He's clearly covering it up. How does that not change your opinion on a person?
Because I believe that this is par for the course.
Nobody else has ever done this. What do you mean it's par for the course? All the Democrats are not doing this.
Many. Oh man.
What do you mean, oh man? This has never happened.
So the Democrat, well, of course, an Epstein list and an Epstein suicide and all this shit has never happened before.
That happened under Trump. That happened under Trump.
Well, yes, only he was president during this.
Yes, and it was his
saying,
Department of Justice that told us that there was no video from the jail. They were the ones that lied about the video being missing, and then when they released the video, they edited the video. Every bit of hiding, like you can criticize maybe Democrats for not releasing enough, and they didn't. And I think that probably has something to do with Israel, but like the death and the cover up has all happened under Donald Trump. I just like, what does it take for you guys to realize that maybe like this evil thing that you see on the left isn't evil? Like I do not understand a human being who's looking at this right now and is like, you know what, Kamala was not the better choice. That makes no sense to me. How do you look at a guy who will not tell you the truth, who will cover up crimes, and say, well, at least it's not Kamala?
Well, you're speaking in hindsight.
I know, but I'm asking you. Because I asked you. You said that it wouldn't change your mind because you had more distrust for Kamala.
Yeah, like I still don't think he's a great guy, and I still think he's entangled with the same influences as every other president.
Okay, but why is he the only one that covered it up? Why is he the only one that lied?
I mean, didn't you just say they didn't release the files under Joe Biden?
Yeah,
Did you just say that?
What question did I just ask you? Why is he the only one that covered it up? Why is he the only one that lied?
I don't know. Because he's in trouble now, I guess. I also don't think he's dying. I think he's
we got to stay on subject. No, we're not going to move from this subject.
Okay.
I'm just trying to get like
I'm staying on subject.
No, I know. No. I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to be too critical. I just want to stay here. I don't understand this legitimately, and this is what I want to figure out. How are we looking at a president who is legitimately covering up sex crimes, like child sex crimes, and in your mind, you still think this is a better direction to go than Kamala Harris? How do you come to that conclusion?
Well, he's the same man he was before.
I know. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So before you knew he was the kind of guy who would cover up child sex crimes, and that was still better than Kamala Harris?
I mean, I didn't think that he would be guilty of that. It turns out he was.
Okay, now that he is, with the benefit of hindsight, you can't.
Yeah,
you would vote for him again?
I still don't think he's. I wouldn't vote for him again.
Okay, so if they reran the election, if they reran the election today and you had to choose Trump or Kamala, who would you choose?
That's an impossible question to answer because you don't know what's lurking behind the other door.
Yeah, but you never know what's lurking. Wait, but you never know that. And you never. Hold on. You never. Hold on. You never. Brother, hold on. You cut me off. Don't get mad at me.
You're interrupting me.
No, you answered it, and I started.
I said it's an impossible question to answer because you don't know what's behind door number 2. And I understand what you're saying. There's
wait, but that's how you vote every election. Every election, you don't know what you don't know. That's every election. Yeah. Okay, so I'm asking. So every election, you vote based on what you know. So what you know about Kamala Harris is her record, and what you know about Trump is his record, and only one of them is covering for child sex abusers. And it's difficult. This is still a difficult decision.
No, I said I wouldn't vote for him again.
I said if you had to vote for Harris or Trump, who would you vote for?
I guess I would have to take my chances with Harris. You know, I
appreciate
that's
that.
not really a win. It's hardly a win.
I think any time you have a president who doesn't cover up child sex crimes, that's a win. Like if you have a choice between one who does cover it up and one who doesn't, I think it's always going to be a win, regard like the other direction.
Do you retroactively? What if Kamala Harris wasn't running instead? Donald Trump was running against Joe Biden.
I would have voted. I would have voted for.
You would have voted for Donald Trump then?
Hell no.
Why not? His son involved with all the minors and shit, covering up sex crimes sex crimes with. Am I fading out?
No, I don't know what you're talking about. You're saying Hunter Biden?
The Hunter Biden laptop with pictures of him with underage girls in bed.
No,
are you?
That didn't exist.
That doesn't. Unaware?
Yeah, that doesn't exist.
doctored photos. They're not real.
The photos from his laptop were with like I believe some of them were escorts and one was a girlfriend. None of them were underage.
Okay. I'll be back.
Like I got to be honest with you. Like this is what sucks about. This is what sucks about it.
It'd probably be illegal for me to go seek them out and drop it in your Discord. It probably wouldn't be legal for me to do that.
Why wouldn't it be legal if it's stuff that's been released? Let me ask you a question. If it's not files that have been released by the FBI or by Congress, how would you have them?
I guess that's a good point.
Yeah.
Well, they're not nude photos, but they are photos of him doing drugs with these very young-looking girls.
Okay, fine. That they may be young-looking. Donald Trump is covering up child sex abuse, known child sex abuse.
Yeah, but we're going through the same exercise now.
I know we are. And what you're saying is that
Joe. So you're faced with the same question now. There's Donald Trump and Joe Biden.
Joe Biden didn't cover this up. Joe Biden didn't cover it up.
Hypothetically, Joe Biden is running against Donald Trump, and Joe Biden is covering up his son's crimes.
What crimes?
Hiring escorts, and doing illegal substances.
He didn't cover them up. He allowed them to be in his. They were investigated. Okay. Brother, he got prosecuted under Joe Biden.
Okay.
The FBI investigated.
Oh, really? Is he in jail? Is he in jail or is he pardoned?
He pled guilty.
Is he in jail or was he pardoned?
No,
by
but
his
I think
father?
he was. Was he pardoned for those? I don't think he got jail time for those.
I don't think he did either.
I think these were preemptive pardons.
I'm very, 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 very curious.
Issue full and unconditional pardon to his son. And that was for tax. That was for tax convictions.
Who else he pardoned?
The only names that I will accept for pardons right now, if we're going to talk about that, are people who were sexually abusing children. Did he pardon anybody that does that?
Sorry, I'm getting this is they are not stopping. Give me 1 second. Don't hang up eventually. I'm sorry.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Someone was calling me. Sorry.
You're good. Yeah, look, again, this is a strange thing that you're doing. And I think that a lot of MAGA are in a similar situation that you are right now, where you're confronted with the fact that you might have been lied to.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And I think that this is one of those moments that you kind of have a choice here. You can either take this moment and think this is the only time Trump lied to you, or you can go revisit the evidence of the things that you think are true with Donald Trump. And if you have an open mind,
that's not the point.
If you have an open mind that Trump lied to you, then you're going to find out that all these things he's been telling you, all these reasons that you probably don't like Democrats, that they just weren't true.
Like what?
Well, like that his campaign did work with Russia, and it was proven over and over again. And that there was 30 something indictments, and that multiple people pled guilty to working with Russia. You're going to find out that like the evidence was overwhelming with E. Jean Carroll. You're going to find out that the convictions in New York were like he definitely broke the law. You're going to find out that the election wasn't stolen. You're going to find out that Joe Biden didn't run a criminal organization.
Well, I never said that. I haven't even heard of that.
The Republicans they held hearings every day for like 2 years about the Biden crime family. You never heard that?
I've heard about the Biden crime family. I don't really know what they're accused of outside of their business in Ukraine.
Mostly just a bunch of stuff that Trump's family actually does, where they actually are a crime family. Like they're actually running like multiple Ponzi schemes as we speak right now. They've made
what are those?
2 cryptocurrencies and then Trump Media.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're literally like taking investment from foreign investors to artificially boost the price of their coins or their stock, and then they sell that and they make money. Plus, they make fees. Yeah, he's just openly like. I think the other day he made $5 billion. Billion. Trump made $5 billion off the presidency so far.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good.
But this is my problem with America. Like, honest to God, I used to be a Republican. I used to be on your side. I've never been a Trump Republican. We do not live in the same world, dude. And it sucks.
I was never a big fan
Hold
of
on,
him.
hold on. Hear me out. You and I do not live in the same world. And what I'm gonna tell you is you believe in a reality that does not exist. It only exists in
What is that?
in Magaville.
What reality is that?
Literally, if you voted for Trump, everything you voted for was a lie.
Okay.
Like everything.
Yeah.
Like, was the board? Did we have an open border?
Yes.
No, border was never open.
Okay. How did everybody get here then?
They were mostly asylum seekers, which is a legal process.
Okay.
Yeah. So we didn't have open borders, did we?
if everybody that comes as an asylum seeker, that's effectively an open border.
So you have to change the law, right?
Sure.
And did they try and change the law?
I don't know about that.
I can tell you about it. James Langford, the most conservative Republican in the Senate.
But what year are you talking about?
2023, under Joe Biden's administration. The Republicans and Democrats in the Senate agreed to a bipartisan border bill that would change the amnesty laws, that would have shut down the border for like 8 straight months, because it would have hit, and they all agreed to it.
At the end of his presidency,
and then Trump said, "Don't do that because I need to run on the broken border," and then he did.
And so then Joe Biden didn't do that.
Joe Biden can't do that. This is how laws work. They have to be run through Congress. That's how,
so Congress didn't approve it for Trump.
Correct.
Benefit Trump.
The House Republicans, Mike Johnson, wouldn't even bring it up for a vote. He wouldn't even let Republicans vote on it because Trump asked him not to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Joe Biden, at the end of his presidency, issued a bill to change the laws on the border.
The first thing Joe Biden did in office was try and change these laws. It was the first thing he tried to do through, like, he proposed legislation.
2023.
No, I said that's when this bill came through, but he tried at the beginning of his administration, and they couldn't get. He tried his entire administration, but it was 2023 when finally the bill came out, and Republicans voted against it. Right? I mean, you're looking at a guy who legitimately, last time he lost an election, he tried to overthrow the government. And then he told all of you that these weren't Trump supporters, that it was Nancy Pelosi's fault, that it was Nancy Pelosi's fault, and the FBI did it, and this was staged by Antifa, and then he pardoned them. How does that make sense? How are these all left? How are
Can you tell me how he overthrew the government?
I said he tried. He didn't overthrow the government.
By what means?
So the Capitol, the people that stormed the Capitol, there was a plan. There was a plan to take over all of the buildings, and Trump was aware of that. He had been briefed on the plans, and that was from the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers. They called it Operation, I think, like Winter Home or something like that, Winter Palace, and that's why
Trump.
And that's why
Donald
they,
Trump
and that's why, and that's why.
guys.
And that's why they got charged with seditious conspiracy. And that's why they were supposed to do like 30 years in jail. But then Trump pardoned them. And their plan was, we're going to take over the government and then Trump is going to run it. That was their plan. Trump refused to send in the National Guard. He lied and said that Nancy Pelosi refused. She didn't even have the ability to do that. And you guys have just bought that. We now live in a world where like Ashley Babbitt just got $5 million from our government, and she got all of her like credentials restored, and she gets a military burial now after she attacked the Capitol, broke through, trespassed, disobeyed a lawful order with a gun in her face as she tried to break into Congress, and she got shot. And this administration, who for years told you that this was the FBI and Antifa and that these were not MAGA supporters, then Trump just goes and pardons them all, and then like gives them government funerals and benefits and $5 million. How does that make any sense?
Yeah,
Hey,
we could argue.
Real fast. I know you said you wanted to stay on the one particular topic. I don't know if you wanted to.
We'll finish up soon.
Well, we actually glossed over the intended topic completely.
Well, yeah, I think you answered the intended topic. The intended topic was, and I think this goes to show, like, I don't think that this matters very much to you. I don't think it matters very much to you that Donald Trump is covering this up. I don't think that you view it as that problematic. I know, but that's like,
I don't like it.
I don't like broccoli, but like, I'm outraged. I'm outraged by this.
Yeah, I am outraged that the Epstein files haven't been released yet.
So
if there's anything on earth that I could do to have them released, I would do it.
Have you called your member of Congress?
No, I didn't realize it was up for a vote until you just brought it up.
Oh, yeah, that's what they're voting on right now. Every Democrat has agreed to force the release of these files, and 4 Republicans, and we need 2 more Republicans to join.
Oh, okay, so 2 already have. Which 2?
4 have. It's Marjorie.
You said
Marjorie.
they needed 4?
No, they need 2 more. They need 6.
Oh, they need 6. Okay.
Yeah. Do you know who your Congress member is? I could help you find it if you want.
I'll look it up.
Okay. So are you going to call your member of Congress today?
Sure.
All right. I love
They
it.
have office hours, or do you just leave a message?
They're
how does
not
that work?
they're not going to answer. You're going to have to leave a message. There's no way they're answering today. And they won't call you back.
Okay.
They won't even acknowledge you, just so you know. But at least you'll get an experience to recognize that whoever represents you isn't representing you. And I hope that
I went into this feeling that way. When you said, does it make a difference to me that Donald Trump is caught in all this bullshit? Not really. I do not feel represented. I'm surprised if anybody does. Honestly.
Yeah,
that's
I am
really-
too, but
really what it's about.
I am too, but I think that's a cop out for people to not be involved and not to hold people accountable. Like Donald Trump is just a fucking disaster. His economic policies have been disastrous. He's driving us into debt. He lies to us every single day. And every time I talk to a Trump supporter, it seems like maybe this is what happened. Like they were so disillusioned with the government that all they really cared was that Donald Trump was a prick. And so they're like, well, at least he's going to say some stuff that I like. It seems like maybe that's where a lot of you are. And you're just so used to him not telling the truth and so used to like nothing happening that you've just settled on, it's okay if our president is a piece of shit. At least he's not a Democrat.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Kamala Harris.
Kamala, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you saying right to me or right to your partner there?
To you.
I don't know.
Oh, it's Kamala. I was just helping you. It's just Kamala. Kamala, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. She is vice president, and she ran on. This is one of the big. Maybe this is stupid. Probably is. I don't know. One of the things that bothered me about her running is for the time frame. Anybody could argue about the time frame, but people were saying Joe Biden is out to pasture, essentially. You know
Sure.
what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Okay. Like why didn't she take the wheel?
Would
You
you,
know what I mean?
if she did, would you have voted for her?
I wouldn't have judged her as heavily.
Would
Even
you?
on something as
Yeah,
small
but
as-
I know. But
even
would you?
on-
But
even
would you?
on-
But
even
would
on
you have?
something
But
as-
would you have voted for her?
I don't know. I don't know what I would have done.
Well, if you're the vice president, you can't just take the reins. You have to have an act to Congress. You're gonna have to remove the president, which is difficult to do. But anyways, I promised the people we'd stay on topic, and I want to get back to these victims. So I do appreciate it, but I'm gonna jump back to the videos I had prepared. Okay.
All right, peace.
I do. Good talking to you. Here. All right, back at it. I expect a lot of that tonight too. I expect a lot of I don't knows tonight. Let me catch up on messages. It's weird that I hear my kid home. She's not supposed to be home. Thank you, Alyssa. Cookie Name said 27 accusations against Trump equals don't believe women. Today, Epstein survivors equals don't believe women. The one woman they believe, Maxwell, is a predator. Yeah, that's, oh, good Lord. Yeah, the only woman they believe is the one that's convicted of these crimes, who's like, Trump's a really good guy. They're like, actually, she seems believable. Jesse said Donald Trump isn't even 5 steps ahead of the Grim Reaper, judging from the way he looks. Lee said, I'm yelling, it's not partisan, you fools, release the files. All right. Let me check here, too. All right. Got it. I think I got everything. Okay. Next. So there's Fernandez laying into Comer. That's where we were at. Comer obviously is in Trump's pocket. This was just alarming to me. I showed this to somebody who was not political, and they don't feel the same way as I do. So I just want to say my opinion on this is based on me viewing Mike Johnson for hundreds of hours and James Comer for hundreds of hours and recognizing when they're confident and when they're not. These are not two confident people. So this is Mike Johnson and James Comer right after they came out of these meetings with the victims, right after this is the same meeting that Nancy Mace left crying and had an anxiety attack. It's the same meeting that left Marjorie Taylor Greene as an outspoken advocate. Same with Anna Paulina Luna. This is the meeting that seemed to change everybody's mind, except for these two who are running right now. And they'll tell you, like, they're literally running to talk to the president before they share their opinion because they need to know what they're supposed to say first. But here's Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson is usually very confident. He speaks slow. He speaks confidently. He speaks coherently. Mike Johnson is completely frazzled, and you'll see James Comer in the back. Like, he cannot stop fidgeting and looking around. These are two people who just came out of a very impactful meeting and now have to address reality that it looks like their president is covering up some pretty horrific shit.
Question or two, Manu, go
ahead. Tony said, get back on topic. I missed that. Adding to the gift goal during the debate. Thank you, Tanya. There we go. I just missed those two.
You just talked to these victims. Is it a hoax?
I'm not sure what that comment refers to, but I've spoken to the president.
My question was, like, Trump called this a hoax. You met with the victims. Is this a hoax?
I'm not sure what that comment refers to, but I've spoken to the president myself about this many times, and he is insistent as we are. He is the most transparent president in memory, probably in the history of the country. As you,
what the fuck, right? He refuses to release the files. Everybody's like, why won't he release the files? And they're like, because he's so transparent. That's why. He's the most transparent in history. Nobody has ever done more in the name of transparency than the guy who won't release the fucking files. Like, what world do we live in? There's just no fucking way you guys are buying this shit. And whatever you want to say, like, I'm not even criticizing Trump. I've got real questions about Mike Johnson right now. How the fuck did you just say that with a straight goddamn face? How did you say that? Everybody there has a microphone because they're trying to figure out why everybody is covering this up in this administration. They can't figure out why you guys are all saying this is horrible, these women need to be heard, and Trump won't release it. And your defense is he's actually so transparent, you guys don't even recognize it.
No, he stops. If he were here now, he would stand here and take your questions endlessly. That's his mindset, and he wants the American people to have information so they can draw their own conclusions. I've talked with him about this very subject myself, so I can tell you that is his heart. Now, he also...
I can tell you his heart? No, you can't, bitch. You cannot tell his heart. You don't fucking know what's in his heart. Well, here's the facts. Did he release it? No. Has he delayed it? Yes. Did you delay it? Yes. Are you avoiding a vote? Yes. Did you make sure that nobody could vote on this? Yes. Are you instructing the members of your caucus not to vote for this? Yes. They're all covering it up. Everybody knows it. There's not a Republican in here who doesn't know that this guy, and Donald Trump are all covering up this list. You all fucking know, which is why you all show up today. You're like, what about Joe Biden? This is not going to go well. This is like strike two. Strike one has been Israel and the treatment of Palestine, and that already lost Trump a good chunk of his base. This is strike two. Because this is the QAnoners. All you're going to have left supporting Trump, and you're going to watch this, it's going to be the rich and the powerful. They won't leave. All these people that don't want this out, they're going to stick around. And that's all Trump cares about anyways. I think that there's I think there's a real scenario where Trump isn't in these files in a way that like says that he was a perpetrator of this violence. I think there's a real possibility of that. And the reason I say that is because I do think that there's at least some Republicans who, if they knew that he was in them and he was abusing children, I do think there's some of them that would have spoken up. Not a lot of them, not most of them, but some. And I might be wrong about that. If you guys think that none of them would, and it turns out he's in, I'm going to be wrong. I'll eat my shoe on this one. But there's nobody at all who thinks that Donald Trump won't protect his rich friends now at this point. It is very clear. The victims don't get protection. Us as voters, doesn't matter what our voice is. The only people that Trump seems to care about are the rich, powerful people, which is the same people he cares about with his economic policies. He tells you he cares about you. He tells you that these tax cuts are going to work for you, and they're not. Everything is for the rich and the powerful. It's the richest administration in history. No administration has ever even come close to enriching themselves this much. Like, Donald Trump has made more money in 6 months than the last. He's made more money in 6 months. I would bet than every president combined. Somebody do the math on that. If you can find every president combined, you can even adjust for inflation. I would imagine that Trump has made more in 6 months than every other president combined. Because he's in on the game now with the rich folks. He's just rigged the whole thing for them.
Just as we do, is insistent that we protect the innocent victims, and that's what this has been about. Question or two.
Listen, I know you guys are saying Google Katie Johnson. I've read Katie Johnson. I'm saying I don't know if the Katie Johnson testimony is in these files. I'm not sure if it is, because that's been pretty public. Like, that's already out there. So I'm counting the stuff that we don't know about. So I don't mean to brush over Katie Johnson. I think we already know about that. That's already out there. So if they released the stuff with Katie Johnson, it's probably going to be the stuff that's already been released. Again, I could be wrong there, but that's why I'm not including Katie Johnson. I'm thinking of new cases. So I want to be clear on that. All right, there we go with Speaker Johnson. Does that clear that up? Does that make sense? I don't mean to diminish that. Then here is James Comer. And this is James Comer telling you that the government has failed them. I don't understand how he's got both of these positions. They're admitting that the government has failed all of these people. They didn't listen to him. They didn't release the files. They haven't made it publicly available. And yet he's still advocating for not releasing the files.
We're not going to leave any stone unturned and do everything we can. I think you see both parties.
Jess, Katie Johnson filed a lawsuit, and eventually she withdrew it. And what she said is that she feared for her life, and that she was getting death threats, and so she withdrew it and kind of went into hiding. So that court case was never seen all the way through.
We're not going to leave any stone unturned and do everything we can. I think you see both parties. The fact that Mike Johnson sat in there for 2.5 hours listening. I mean, we're serious about this, and we want to not only get the American people the information they want. Everybody wants to know who some of the people were that were on the island. They want to know, was the government involved? But I can tell you from listening to the 6 survivors in there today that the government has failed them, because they've reported this to the FBI, they've testified, they've given depositions, and a lot of the people that they implicated were never charged for anything. So we're going to do everything we can to make this right for the victims, as well as get the American people the transparency that
except for release the list. Honestly, what does he say? He said, we're going to do everything we can. The only thing you can do, James Comer, because you're a member of Congress, you can't investigate them for a criminal investigation. You can't arrest them. It's not your branch of government. Literally, the only thing that you are capable of doing, and you're the only person standing in the way, is release the files. If Mike Johnson signs, the files are released. This is crazy. They're we're going to do everything. It's not complicated. It's not released because of you. It's just you. You can release them. And you won't. And then you're saying I'm going to do everything I can, except for the only thing that I could do that will actually release them. That's the one thing I won't do. There's no fucking way, Republicans, that you're this dumb. I'm trying to give you some credit today. I'm talking to you as a former Republican, as somebody who used to be proud to be a Republican. And I'm trying to shield you from the libs right now. I'm trying to help, because they all think, all my lib friends, they all think that you're stupid. They all think that you just don't have functioning brains. And so all they're left with is they're watching this, they're seeing the same thing you are, and in their minds they're how do you justify this? This is so obvious. So they're left to just conclude that you guys are all fucking stupid, and I'm trying to help you out. I don't want them to think that about you. I want them to think that you're intelligent and you just have disagreements on policy. That's what I want them to think. So I'm trying my best, but you're going to have to start acting a little bit smarter. You can't allow somebody to mock you openly like this and go along with it. You can't allow James Comer and Mike Johnson to just be like, we're doing everything we can. You can't. Otherwise, I don't have any defense for you. I'm just going to have to, I might have to just agree with my lib friends. They don't have functioning brains, and we got to do something about that. I don't know what to do about you folks that are letting yourselves be abused like this. I don't mean to victim blame. I really don't. And I'm trying not to, but God, a lot of this seems self-inflicted to me. I know that Donald Trump's an abuser, and I know that he's a powerful cult leader. And later on you'll be like, I can't believe I believed it. I was so wrapped up in it. It's just like sometimes we get to a point where, like, I know you're in a cult, and I've been in a cult, so I know how hard it is. But sometimes you get to a point where I got in my cult where the evidence was overwhelming, and I just had to admit it to myself. And we're at that moment, Republicans. You can't do this anymore. There's not wiggle room anymore. Like, Donald Trump's covering this up. No, and Mike Johnson's covering up, and James Comer is covering it up. Danielle said, I'm worried if the majority of media continues to ignore the 2024 election audits, the GOP will still have a red wave, no matter how unpopular they are. I hear you, Danielle. I've got some stuff on that that we're going to cover tomorrow. I've heard you. All right. Oh, hey, Jen.
Did you? I think there's some Venmos you might have missed.
I did. Rachel said, keep putting pressure on the GOP, the guardians of pedos. I saw Alyssa's. Did I miss another one?
There was some book. Wait.
I got Jamar and Pink.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It was right before you came on, so maybe you didn't hear it.
Illusion also found some numbers for you. I just put in our chat.
Okay. Oh, sick. All right. Here's the post-presidential earnings from earlier. Clinton, 243 million. Obama, 71 million. George Bush, 41. Jimmy Carter, 8. George H.W., 19. Ronald Reagan, 4.8. Nixon, 13. Ford, 5.6. Truman, 0. 404.5 million. Yeah. It's not even close. Trump's made somewhere. I know this recent cryptocurrency is 5 billion. It was already like 5 billion. So yeah, he's at 10 billion, and everybody else combines at 404 million. I don't know if that's adjusted for inflation, but even then, going back to Truman, you're not going to get anywhere near like 6 billion. You're the
Do
only.
you have the number for the total?
I read the total. Yeah. Oh, for the gift total?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll update that. Danielle said you're the only one who's been willing to. That sucks, Danielle. If I can put some pressure on some people, Danielle, DM me. If there's people, I know we talked about Majority Report. I know one person that like works with them, but I don't know them well, and they left me on red, so I tried over there. But if there's other people I can put pressure on, let me know. Let's go here. Yeah. All right, Republicans, this is for you. This is your person. If you're not going to hear it from me, will you listen to Thomas Massie, please?
Jobs, the economy, those are always the big issues. But you really can't solve any of that if this place is corrupt.
What do you mean if this place is corrupt?
Well, I mean, if they're going to cover up for rich and powerful and politically connected people, which is still what is happening right now here.
Are you worried about the blowback that you're facing from the White House, from the president? He continues to attack you for taking steps like this.
Josh, I got bad news for you. You said that Epstein, it's a waste of our time. He's going to walk. He's dead, dude. He can't walk. He's dead.
Look, I got 3 billionaires right now running ads against me in Kentucky, and one of them's in Epstein's black book.
Who are the 3 billionaires running ads against? Somebody want to look it up while we're polling this? Can somebody find out who the 3 billionaires running ads against Thomas Massie are? I probably should have looked that up.
Right now running ads against me in Kentucky, and one of them's in Epstein's black book. So I'm not worried about it. I've already poked the hornet's nest here, and once you're in for a penny, you're in for a pound. We're going to get these files released.
I thought Elon too, and he hates Elon, so that's who I thought he was talking about too. But I'm not sure if Elon is currently funding opposition against him. Will you listen to the Republicans who tell you that it's being covered up? No, you're just gonna let these rich and powerful people run attack ads against the people who are trying to show you that the government lies to you. This was crazy. So Thomas Massie comes out and does this. NBC reached out to the White House for comment, on what Massey said. And in response to Massey's comment, a White House official told NBC News in an email, helping Thomas Massey and liberal Democrats with their attention seeking, while the DOJ is fully supporting a more comprehensive file release effort from the Oversight Committee, would be viewed as a very hostile act to the administration. Let's talk about the idiocracy here. The DOJ is fully supporting a more comprehensive file release effort from the Oversight Committee. What is more comprehensive than releasing all the files? You can't do more comprehensive than that. How could it be more comprehensive than everything? So Thomas Massey and the Democrats are like, let's release all the files. And the Republicans are like, actually, we need to do a more comprehensive release. When are you going to release it? Someday. Just we'll pinky swear. We'll pinky swear on it. Don't worry. We'll release it someday. And then this is a threat. A hostile act to the administration. So now Trump voters asking for transparency as a voter or as an elected leader is a hostile act. How does this administration deal with hostile acts? Trump's told you what he does with hostile acts. Trump says if somebody hits you, hit them harder. Trump said one time to Barbara Walters, the reason I call everybody fake news is because whenever you report something about me, I need people to already be conditioned to believe that it's fake. That's why I call everybody fake news. I poison the well. Everything in Trump is like Trump's entire life is a game. That's why it feels sometimes like a simulation and it feels not real, because that's how Trump views every interaction. Every interaction he has with a human, every transaction with a human, like it's literally a transaction and there is a winner or a loser. He doesn't shake hands without competing. When he shakes your hand, he pulls you in. Everything to this man is about being the dominant person in every scenario. So he's covering up for himself right now and his rich and powerful friends. And he's saying this is a hostile act, and Republicans are going along with it. This seems like Stephen Miller to me. This feels an awful lot like Stephen Miller writing that email. Trump's just a plant. He's part of the play. No, he's not. Trump is not a plant. Trump is a useful idiot. There's a difference. There have been a lot of people waiting around for some dipshit to be in office. And luckily for us, Republicans found one. And all we had to do was elect a black president, and then Republicans lost their mind. They're like, fuck it, we're going with the craziest person we have. And they don't realize that he's stupid. The conversation I had with my professor friend last night, so he's the person that got me to first, he caused my shelf to crack, like when it came to religion. I've told this story before, but I had a very close friend of mine called me one day and was like, hey, do you still believe in like the church, which is the Mormon church? I was like, yeah, of course. I was like, I'm going to go again, because I wasn't really going to church at the time. I was like, I need to get back and going. And he's like, I don't believe in it. And we talked for like 3 hours. And that was the first time anybody had really given me permission to doubt my faith. It was the first time anybody else had confirmed it to me. And that allowed me to go deeper. It almost gave me permission to like, okay, I'm going to look at this rationally. And I told him last night, I said, I think that you're about to have like this same moment. I was like, and I asked him, I said, when did your shelf break with the church? And I'm trying to remember, it was something about polygamy, I think. He's like, it was just too far gone, and it was too far removed from what I believed that it just caused me to look at it, and then everything came crumbling down. And I said, I think you're about to have this same moment. I think that what you and Republicans are going to find out soon, because I don't believe that a lot of Republicans are going to be able to defend this or be willing to defend this. He even said his dad, who's like the most Trump person, he's like, I think this is a bridge too far for my dad. Like, abusing children is going to be a bridge too far. And I said, as soon as you recognize how stupid this lie is, as soon as you recognize how easy it is for Trump to lie about obvious things, and when you let yourself believe that, and you're going to work backwards, and you're going to realize that the whole time, this was just a corrupt idiot. That he's remarkably stupid. And the stuff that you didn't understand and you chalked up as like, oh, he's brilliant, it wasn't. He's stupid, and he never takes accountability for anything. And if you don't force him to be held accountable for anything, you don't ever have to accept that anything he said was stupid. So when he said that we had like, that they were bombing the airports in the civil or in the Revolutionary War, you wrote it off. when he wrote kafefi and he didn't admit that he just meant to say coffee, and it was actually like 5D chess, you wrote it off because you had already been convinced that he had the right answers and that he was brilliant. How else could he have all this money if he wasn't brilliant? And so all this time it was just a dumb guy. And I think once you allow yourself to see that how transparently dumb he is, the whole thing is going to come crashing down, and you're going to realize very quickly that you were duped. This is a defining moment for America, honestly. If America acts as we would expect them to react, where a significant portion of people are going to turn on Trump for this, because like abusing children should be a bridge too far for most people, then you have an actual opportunity to then make radical change. And then we're going to find out, like, are we actually willing to rid ourselves of the power structure in America? Because if this turns out that Trump's covering up for his friends, and let's just say that most of them are Republicans, and it looks really bad for Trump and Republicans, you no longer can trust J.D. Vance, because J.D. Vance is a guy who came out principally and was like, Trump is a scumbag. You can't trust him. Like, he's America's Hitler. And then you caved. So now you look at J.D. Vance and you're like, all right, bitch, like, you folded. You saw it before and you folded. You go on down the line. You can go to Ron DeSantis. You can go to Vivek Ramaswamy. You can go to Marco Rubio. There's really going to be nobody left in leadership that anybody can trust. And what Democrats then will have to do, and what I'm very afraid of that Democrats will do, is Democrats will see this opportunity and be like, oh, now we're going to win. Foot off the gas. But if we want to make change, and you want to take these red-pilled MAGA, who if this goes this way, and red pill MAGA, they lose their faith in Donald Trump, they need a landing spot, and that landing spot's not going to be like Cory Booker. It gives you an opportunity to say, like, we need radical change. We have to get rid of money in politics. We have to take care of the American people first. You think America first, people that no longer worship Trump aren't going to come to see the light when it comes to like universal health care, like universal pre-K, guaranteed paid time off for like maternity leave and paternity leave. Those people who have been screaming at all this money going to Ukraine and Israel, like, we have a real opportunity, if this plays out this way, to fundamentally change our country. Or if I'm wrong, we're North Korea. If Trump gets through this, honest to God, game over. What do you do? If this doesn't bring down Trump, and if this doesn't stop the support from his supporters, that he can just openly hide stuff from them, it's time to start talking about, like, maybe we don't want to live here anymore. Because, like, how could you ever trust him? How could any of us ever trust him? And if you choose to trust him, like, you've just now chosen, no matter what he says, I'm going to believe it from now on. This was a choice. If you stay with Donald Trump after this, it is a conscious choice to say, like, I'm not really doing reality anymore. Some of you say we're already there. Maybe. You guys know I'm always way too hopeful. I'm always more hopeful than you. I will say, but I got Boebert back, didn't I? I told you I could fix Boebert. I fucking told you guys I could fix Boebert, and here she is over with us for a minute. This was devastating. So on MSNBC last night, they had a lot of these victims up on a panel, and they were asked this question. Now, remember, our Justice Department says that they're doing everything and that they're being very transparent and that they're trying to get all the information out there. And our Justice Department went and met with Ghislaine Maxwell, and they allowed Ghislaine Maxwell to sit there and tell her story about how she's kind of innocent. Trump's a good guy. Epstein isn't what they said he was. And she's convicted of abusing many of these people on stage. Here's what they had to say yesterday.
So can I get a show of hands? Who here is satisfied with the level of contact they've had from Congress? Nobody. Let me ask this.
Zero? The transparent government only met with the criminal and not any of the victims?
How about the Justice Department? I want to ask a couple of things about what you knew about things that were happening with this case that you're obviously involved with. Show of hands. Did any of you hear from the Justice Department before they released that memo, that 2-page memo earlier this summer? No hands. Were any of you told that Todd Blanche would be speaking with Ghislaine Maxwell prior to that interview over the course of 2 days?
No.
No. Were any of you told about the prison transfer that Ghislaine Maxwell?
No.
Do any of you feel that the DOJ has communicated with you enough this year?
No.
Have any of you had any communication with the DOJ? No. Nobody in this room has heard at all from the Department of Justice?
No. No.
Is that surprising to you?
No. No. It should be.
It should, yeah.
Right? So can I get a show of hands? Who here is satisfied?
What do we do about that, Republicans? Not one of these victims. They all knew the victims. They knew their names. Why is your president, why is your Justice Department, why is this transparent administration not talking with the victims? Only Ghislaine Maxwell? With no pushback, by the way? Letting her attorney answer and ask some of the questions? Moving her to a minimum security facility where she has more freedom? Just so that she could say the words, I don't think Donald Trump did anything wrong? Not one victim? You guys didn't hear from one victim? What's the Justice Department doing? What honestly, what do you think they've been doing? They won't release the list. We know they went and they found it, that Trump was on the in the files all day long. What have they been doing? Just covering this up? Where the fuck's Kash Patel today? Has Kash Patel spoken today? Does anybody know? I haven't seen Kash Patel today. I haven't seen Dan Bongino. I haven't seen Pam Bondi. Wasn't me, says my inner child says thank you. Oh, thank you. Leslie said, I appreciate your work, Jane Jen. I learn so much every day. Thank you. Yeah, just to cover up. TV hosts are doing it. I think most of the people in here, I hope that most of the people in here that are saying this shit, I hope you guys are like legitimately trolls. If you're actual human beings that believe this stuff, I'm very concerned. Let's see. Is there anything else I wanted to cover from that? This was the one I wanted to show. This was Anna Paulina Luna. Because Anna Paulina Luna, like, she says what's on her mind. I don't know if what she's saying here is true. She is prone to hyperbole, so let's take this with a grain of salt. But she was a little bit more open with what she felt was said in that meeting.
Well, there's 33,000 pages that have been released. I have to at least look over some of them. I'd like to get through all of them before I decide whether or not I'm going to do that. But I think that they've basically released everything except for the victim information, which obviously we don't release that.
Well, like, somebody said, what about the option where I'm wrong? I can't be wrong on this. I can't. I'm not wrong. They're not releasing the files. There's no ambiguity. They're not telling you the truth. They're not releasing the files. They're lying about why they're not releasing the files. I can't be wrong on this. This is like if it's raining outside, you're like, but what if it's not raining? Well, it is. It's raining. They're hiding it. They're covering it up. I can't be wrong on this. I don't know why. My guess is on why they're covering it up. Those could be wrong. But like, obviously they're covering it up. Obviously they're not releasing it. How would you even defend that? What argument could you possibly make that they're not covering this up?
I'd like to get through all of them before I decide whether or not I'm going to do that. But I think that they've basically released everything except for the victim information, which obviously we don't release that. One thing to note that today when we were actually talking to some of the victims, one of the women stated that at 14 when Epstein started to victimize her, that she has no recollection of some of the stuff that was done to her. She's hoping to find that out so that she can actually bring it to her therapist and continue the healing process in regards to the damage and the trauma that was caused to her. So, but from what I'm being told, from what I'm hearing, there's a lot of very wealthy, bad people. It's actually scary to hear some of the stuff that was brought forward. And so I think the only way to collectively attack this is as a group and as a whole, meaning that Democrats and Republicans have to work together and back Comer's subpoenas, because I think this is going to be pretty hairy.
Is there more information beyond these 33,000 pages?
Well, there's going to be names. The attorneys kept emphasizing you need to follow up on the names. These girls are not just making this up. These are some of the wealthiest people probably in the world. And we'll start from there.
So they named individual people that are part of this.
Apparently, in these files that just dropped, I have not been able to look over all the files. Again, there's 33,000
I'm talking about
pages.
in the meeting.
There are some people named, yes.
Were there any public officials that they named?
No, but very, very wealthy people have been named. Yeah.
All right, so now you know this. Now, coming out of this meeting, Trump supporters talking to you again, she said no public officials were named. That means Trump wasn't named. That means no members of Congress were named. Only wealthy people. So now why are we not releasing it? We're not releasing these records because we got to protect the wealthy people. What now? Why do you need to cover it up? You shouldn't be covering up regardless. But like, what's Trump's excuse? She's not. Nobody so far. Nobody that has testified, nobody that has spoke has even mentioned Donald Trump's name, except for the person that's like, "Can you help us?" And the other person who said Jeffrey Epstein bragged that you guys were close friends. That's it. That's the only time he's been named. And they're telling us that it's not public officials, it's just rich people. So we're left with like one explanation right now. Donald Trump is lying to you and hiding information about abusing children to protect rich people. Huh. That in your best interest? Is that America first? Is that patriots first? It's pretty cucky behavior there.
Can you name out?
They told us not to because they don't want those people to start basically burning files. So I think this is going criminal investigation for sure. I will say that what's been released, obviously the American people have wanted for a long time. Kudos to the DOJ for getting it to us. I know that some of the delay was due to redacting victim information, and so we'll see where it goes from here. All right.
In another statement, I thought it was in that one. In another statement, she, let me just see if I can find it. She actually implicates foreign, I don't remember if she says Israel or just foreign agents. Let me see. Let's see if I can find it. I think it's this one. Hold on. Let's see. I think it was this one.
We are obviously going to be requesting the SARS reports from Treasury, and also following up on that. There are some very rich and powerful people that need to go to jail. I think everyone's been frustrated as to why that hasn't happened before. But it is very much so a possibility that Jeffrey Epstein was an intelligence asset working for our adversaries. But also, I think the questions that we have is how much did our own government know about it? And so there's more to follow.
So somewhere in these discussions, some evidence was presented that says Epstein was an intelligence asset and potentially working for our enemies. I'm not sure it's hard to decide who our enemies are right now. It's very confusing. Some of the people who historically have been our enemies are no longer our enemies, according to Trump. I don't know where Anna Paulina Luna stands with Israel. So I don't know if she's on the Free Palestine side or not. I don't know if she's talking about Israel, but should we hide that too? Should Trump keep hiding that from us too?
And I'm sure you'll be hearing from the chairman momentarily, but I do applaud the victims from coming forward, because we heard from a woman who was as young as 14 years old when she was victimized multiple times by Jeffrey Epstein, so that's hard to hear.
Will you sign the discharge petition, the massive discharge petition?
I think that the files will probably be released prior. I don't know why Comer hasn't. I think that he should do it, so it wouldn't even have to come to a vote. But I mean, obviously, I've been a huge advocate, even when I was the only one in Congress calling for the release of this file, so I think I'd be happy to, yes. Thank you.
Do they call for the victims? Do they want those files released?
The victims want information to be out there, but they don't want their personal information, I think, for good reason to be out there. So I think from the get-go, even the Attorney General has stated that there's victim information that you have to make sure that's private, being that some of the victims also, too, are as young as 14, that's child pornography.
There you go. Okay, we're going to move on here to, let me get just to, hey, let's see, do I need this one? I don't need that one. We saw that this morning. Yeah, I just want to close on this. This is just, this is the demands from these victims. I want to close on that, and then we'll move off Epstein. This is the family of Virginia Guffrey.
She fought for every survivor who was silenced, doubted, or discarded. And she never backed down, even when the world tried to break her. Today we rally not only in her memory, but in solidarity with every survivor. We are here to say, we see you, we believe you, and we will not stop until justice is served. Because justice is not selective. It does not and must not bend to money, influence, or titles. We're here because every survivor deserves more than a headline. They deserve more than a single conviction. They deserve the full weight of the law behind them. Our demands are clear. Elaine Maxwell must remain in a maximum security prison for the rest of her life. No leniency, no deals, no special treatment. The Epstein documents must be unsealed. Every name, every detail, no more secrets, no more protection for those who preyed on the vulnerable. And finally, we demand full accountability from every enabler, every accomplice, every person in power who turned a blind eye. The justice system was not designed to serve the powerful. It was meant to protect the people. And it's time it started doing just that.
I don't know. Look, this is somebody. I don't have a clip on this video. Apparently, Trump in his meeting today has called it a hoax again. Let's see.
There have been survivors of Jeffrey Epstein speaking at a press conference on Capitol Hill. They're calling for these case files, these documents to be released. And Thomas Massie, who was sponsoring a discharge position to get the House to vote on releasing those documents, says he doesn't believe you're implicated in these files, but many of your friends and donors may be, and he says that's why the Justice Department is redacting them and slow-walking the release. Is the Justice Department protecting any friends or donors, sir?
So this is a Democrat hoax that never ends. You know, it reminds me a little of the Kennedy.
What's the hoax? Did you hear the question? The question was, like, he just said that he doesn't believe you're in the files, but some of your friends are. Anna Paulina Luna said it's some of the wealthiest people in the world. I mean, Thomas Massie said it's one of the billionaires funding attacks against him. Like, are we protecting Elon? And here's where where's Danielle? Danielle, are you here? Is Danielle here? Because I'm just gonna do it. We're gonna do conspiracy. We're gonna do some conspiracy theory to end here. Because this is connecting to me right now. And this is something I could be wrong on, but something just connected for me. So let me finish this off.
Situation. We gave him everything over and over again, more and more and more, and nobody's ever satisfied. From what I understand, I could check, but from what I understand, thousands of pages of documents have been given. But it's really a Democrat hoax because they're trying to get people to talk about something that's totally irrelevant to the success that we've had as a nation since I've been president. Even if you look at D.C. right now, D.C.
All right.
There have been.
If you're thinking about, let's just say that it's Elon. I think that it's probably Elon. It's probably RFK. RFK is going to be on that list probably. If it's Elon, and Trump and Elon have been feuding, let's run some crowdsourcing here. If Trump doesn't want to bury Elon, okay, Danielle, you're here. You'll like this. If Trump doesn't want to bury Elon, why might Trump not want to bury Elon? Let's just say, let's assume for right now, and we're going to play a game. All of this is a game. None of this is necessarily prediction. But let's just say Elon is on that list, and Trump doesn't want it to come out because Elon's going to look bad. Why would he do that? Why would he cover for Elon? Money's a good answer, Gemini. Like, Elon gave him a lot of money, but what do we know about Trump? That doesn't mean a goddamn thing. Like, once Trump has your money and once you're no longer useful to him, he'll turn on you. Elon has badmouthed Trump. Elon has said that Trump is in the Epstein files, and Trump didn't do anything back to him. Right? Trump sues everybody. What's one reason we could think of that somebody like Trump might have dirt on Elon but doesn't go after him? Oh, because Elon knows things. What could Elon know? Let's take them at their word. Let's take Massie here and says, I don't believe Trump's in the Epstein files, but his friends are. So if Elon has dirt on Trump, and that dirt doesn't have to do with the Epstein files, what could it be? Could it be that he cheated on his wife? No, because nobody's going to give a shit about that. Could it be a sexual assault accusation? No, because Republicans aren't going to give a shit about that. Is it going to be that he cheated on his finances? No, because they're not going to care about that. What's the one claim people have made about Elon Musk recently? It's that he rigged the election. And we did a whole episode about this, and the Republicans are about to freak the fuck out because you didn't watch the election, that stuff that we did on the election. But there are a lot of anomalies in this election with the Russian tails. There are a lot of things that we haven't been able to explain yet, and we want a full audit of. There's a lot of pressure being put there. But every step of the way, the Trump administration and Republicans in these states have blocked a forensic accounting of these elections. The same people who audited my election in Arizona 5 times, those same people are saying we can't audit these elections. If Elon gets buried, and if he's going to go to jail, what would stop Elon from saying, here's how I cheated? Again, let's just talk conspiracy. Let's try, like, if they're not going to tell us the truth, it sucks. We're left to just kind of guess on our own, right? I want to show a couple things. This was titled Election Fraud I don't want to talk about, but we're going to talk about it. This is Jane Converse. I watched a bunch of her videos. I'm convinced that she talks really slowly and has to speed it up for her videos because it sounds like AI-ish. But I think it's just the filter, and maybe she speeds it up. But let's talk about this.
Began tracking this story earlier this year. It was just a gut feeling that something wasn't right. Kind of like the lawsuit in Rockland County, New York. That was the case where voters reported filling out their ballots for Senator Kirsten Gillibrand and Kamala Harris. Yet somehow, Harris received 0 votes in certain districts. 0. The discrepancy was so unusual that a judge allowed the case to move forward into discovery, meaning the ballots and records themselves will be examined more closely. But it wasn't until yesterday that certain pieces started to click into place when I read a post on Substack by This Will Hold. There, a man named Adam Zernowski, who identifies himself as a former CIA operative, claimed he had worked on a secret NSA forensic audit of the 2024 election. Now, it's difficult to independently confirm the background of someone who worked in intelligence. But the focus here isn't his resume, it's the allegation itself. And that allegation is simple and shocking. The NSA audit showed Kamala Harris and Tim Walz won by a wide margin, and Donald Trump lost decisively. But the results, Zarnowski says, were buried. So how could that happen? Zarnowski points to a software change pushed through by Election Systems and Software, or ES&S, the company that runs nearly 70% of voting machines in the country. It was called ECO 1188, short for Engineering Change Order. On the surface, it looked like a minor update, but it moved a critical configuration file outside of normal security checks. That file controlled how votes were recorded and tallied. By shifting it outside of oversight, the update created what cybersecurity experts call a backdoor into the vote totals themselves. And if you have a backdoor into a system that sensitive, you don't need to break down the front door. You can simply walk in and alter results without setting off alarms. This change was approved by the testing lab ProV.
Real quick, while the Republicans are here, and again, we're not saying this is factual or not, but what we're talking about is that she's making allegations that there was a back door that could change some of the data. Remember when Trump won and he said this?
And then he journeyed to Pennsylvania, where he spent like a month and a half campaigning for me in Pennsylvania. And he's a popular guy, and he was very effective. And he knows those computers better than anybody, all those computers, those vote counting computers. And we ended up winning Pennsylvania like in a landslide, so it was pretty good. It was pretty good. So thank you to Elon.
Why would you need to know these vote machine computers to help the president? How would that help? What's another explanation for why Elon would need to know how those computers work? If we got any like cybersecurity experts, any election experts, what other reason would Trump be given there? Saying like he knows those computers. Why else would that come into play if he's not manipulating something? The only possible explanation I could come up with is he made sure that the computers didn't cheat. Right? But he wasn't there. He wasn't there to make sure the computers didn't cheat. He was somewhere else on election night. So even if he did make sure the computers didn't cheat, he would have had to install a back door so that he could remotely view that, right? Now she's bringing up a back door that was installed, that you moved a mechanism outside of normal security protocol so that it could be accessed. So no matter what they're saying here, it seems like what she's saying is correct. And it seems like Trump confirmed that there was something in these computer systems that allowed Elon to remotely view this and know 3 hours before the election was over that it was over. You can catch this on Joe Rogan. We'll show. I'll just pull up the clip because let's. I don't want you guys to be confused, Republicans. Joe Rogan said that Elon told him hours before the election was called. Here it is.
Knew what was going to happen. So you're watching the first results roll in, and there's like this weird thing, and then Trump gets way ahead, but you're like, you don't want to like get too hopeful. Like, how far ahead is he? He's ahead by 100 points. That seems like a lot.
Yeah, and you're like, what is it? And some channels are like, and then every channel's kind of different.
Yeah, they had different numbers. I was getting a different number off my Apple News update than I was getting off of CNN, and then I was texting people like Tulsi and J.D. Vance. I was getting a different Apparently, Elon created an app, and he knew who won 4 hours before the results.
How? She said they've uncovered, like she's quoting a CIA source or intelligence source saying that they moved one segment outside of the normal parameters, which would allow it to go undetected, but also would allow it to bypass security protocols. Trump has just confirmed that by saying Elon knew these computers. He at least like confirmed that Elon was doing something with these vote tabulators. Joe Rogan is saying he created an app and that app was able to give him results 4 hours before. Fuck, this is a lot of evidence. If this was in court, this would be a significant amount of evidence. And then you tie this with the stuff that the election commissions, or excuse me, what's that group called? The Secure Elections Group, Danielle? Smart Elections? Yeah, Smart Elections. Thank you. Then you take in their anomalies where you have these counties that don't make any fucking sense. Like in Pittsburgh, where all of a sudden these late votes all came in for Trump. Very late votes. They didn't change Philadelphia, but they changed like the vote total in Pennsylvania, which is then, if you were going to explain statistically how in Arizona, how in Wisconsin, how in Michigan, how Democrats won down ballot, but Trump won at the top of the ballot, this would be one of the things that you floated, like maybe there was something with the top ballot, maybe they switched that. Then you take what she was talking about earlier, where there are people who have confirmed that they voted for Kamala Harris in their precinct, and they voted at that precinct, and yet she got 0 votes. When you add all of these things together, it starts to paint I think a fairly clear picture that should give us enough to investigate it. Nobody should conclude what you're seeing right now proves that the election was stolen. I don't think there's enough evidence to conclude that. But there is plenty here to conclude we should look into it. Now add on top of that Thomas Massie is saying that Elon Musk essentially is the reason that this isn't being released. And Trump saying I'm not gonna release this. And knowing that if Elon had this would be dirt that he could turn and flip on Trump. And this would destroy the Republican Party. Look, listen, I'm open to other interpretations. I just want to hear them.
So as the results were coming in, 4 hours before they called it, Dana White told me Elon was like, I'm leaving. It's over. Donald won. He just fucking...
And now one more quote, because I just thought of this. See if I can find it. Yeah. I remember when Elon was on Rogan, and he said something pretty fucking wild here.
I'll say it again, man. I think this is the last election. If Trump doesn't win, this is the last election.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think people, and a lot of people are waking up and realize that have been lifelong Democrats. Guys like Bill Ackman, guys like Chamath.
Yeah, exactly.
Tulsi Gabbard switched over to the Republicans. Like, there's a lot of people who their whole life they've been left-wing, and they realize, I can't do this anymore.
You and I used to be Democrats.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
It's nuts, man. If the Dems win this election, they will legalize enough illegals to turn the swing states and everywhere will be like California. There will be no escape.
That is so insane.
I've been to California. Every time I leave California, I'm like, fuck, I gotta go. This is how they did. This is how they like convinced themselves that this was okay. This is how they got everybody on board.
This is the final. This is it. This is the last chance.
Has anybody tried
and
to
I
push
just want to
back?
like go out and vote. Vote like your life depends on it. Vote like your future depends on it, because it does.
And then you have the Elon when he said we're fucked. There's that one. Where's that? Well, it's not pulling up. I don't have the exact wording. When Elon said, it was Elon and Tucker. Let's see if I can find this. This one.
You're fucked, dude.
I'm fucked. If he loses, I'm fucked.
It does seem that way. You can't just be like, yo,
Yeah, I'm like, how long do you think my prison sentence is going to be? Do you think? Will I see my children? I don't know.
Because it's not like you can say, well, yeah, I maxed out to him, but, I get...
I have no plausible deniability.
Deniability of what? No plausible deniability, he said? What does that mean? All right, let's get back to this.
DNV and by the Federal Election Assistance Commission, even though independent experts had been warning for years that vulnerabilities like this were possible. Sarnowski argues that this wasn't just a mistake or bureaucratic negligence. He connects it to a larger pattern of corruption, organized crime, and transnational networks of power and money that, in his telling, intersected with Trump's rise to power. He says none of what he's disclosing is classified, and that he's ready to testify under oath. His demand is pretty straightforward: a full forensic hand count of the 2024 election. Now, these are extraordinary claims. They have not been independently verified, but as a history teacher, I know that democracies rarely...
So why do you think we're not bringing that person in to testify? Why not do a hand recount? By the way, for people who get upset about, like, somebody said, oh, we're talking about election fraud now. Like, now you sound like the Republicans. Danielle will tell you. I don't know. Danielle, I'm sure you're still here. But Danielle has been messaging me about this for probably more than 6 months. I've read it. I refused to cover it for months because it's exactly what I wanted to avoid. I wanted to avoid the hyperbolic stuff. I wanted to avoid the stuff that I felt like I couldn't explain. And eventually she sent me enough stuff that there were multiple questions that I couldn't explain and I couldn't find an answer to. And so that's when we get to the point where my conclusion is it should be investigated. I don't think that's a crazy conclusion. And if you're a Republican here, if you think that's a crazy conclusion, that's wild. Like, you guys audited everything. You audited every fucking state. And now we don't want to do an audit. I just want to see an audit. Like, is it possible that this person's lying? Is it possible that all the videos I just showed you of Elon are literally just Elon being a fucking idiot and these stories not being true, and that Trump just actually won because he got more votes? Sure, of course. But how do I know that? What do we do? What do we do about this anomaly here? What do we do about the fact that there's things that happened in this election that have never happened before? Why not look into it? I didn't oppose a single audit until the third one in Arizona. After the third audit, I was like, we don't need to do 2 more. We've done 3. Now it's costing us millions of dollars. There was virtually no pushback for audits in Arizona, in Pennsylvania, in Georgia. It was just like, we're not going to give you access to the machines. And then they did get access to all these machines. Eventually, they got access to these machines. And they're telling you, Elon's telling you somehow he got access to these machines. Trump's telling you somehow he got access to these machines and he could remotely view it from his phone. That is not supposed to happen. Just so we're clear, nobody on earth is supposed to be able to remotely access these machines and get updates on their phone from these machines. That's supposed to be illegal. It's not even supposed to be possible. So if Elon says I did it, if the data looks like they did it, if there's an intelligence agent saying they did it, can we just look into it?
Collapse in a single dramatic moment. More often, they corrode when oversight fails, when institutions look the other way, and when the people stop paying attention. That's why this matters. It is
First to watch, you should check with the people in this chat who were upset with me like 2 days ago for pressing the party. But this chat will tell you, I press Democrats all the time. I do it all the time. You're in the wrong place, bud. So now that you know that you're in a place where we press Democrats too, it's time for you to open your mind. Now you can listen. You don't, if you have that criticism of me, don't be who you accuse me of being. But that's not me.
isn't just about questioning what may have happened in 2024. To me, it's more important that we prevent it from happening again. And since elections are run by the states, that means the pressure has to begin there. Call your state legislators, demand audits, demand transparency, demand better oversight of the voting systems they certify. Because no matter who you voted for, we all deserve elections we can trust. And that starts at the state level. This is part one, the whistleblower. Next, I'll take you to part two. We'll look at the logs and the communications. What the Substack this will hold calls the receipts that suggest officials knew something was wrong, but certified the results anyway. And before you scroll, here's my ask. If you care about defending democracy,
Drew, you don't get a say in this. Drew, you got your audits. And after the audits, it didn't prove any election fraud, and you still believed it. This is the problem with you, Drew. You got your audits. You got what you wanted, and it didn't prove anything. And so now you just don't want audits to happen. You got to be better than that, Drew. I back you up way too often. People always give me shit for being nice to you. Can you be smart for a day? For a day, could you admit that this is a giant fucking cover-up? You don't have to admit, I'm not saying you have to say the election was stolen. I'm not saying that either. For a day, Drew, could you just be like a normal human being and just be like, yeah, this is obviously a cover-up?
don't just listen. Share this, talk about it, and support the work that keeps these stories alive. My tip jar is linked in the bio, and every bit helps me keep going.
All right. Do a little better, Drew. Just like slightly better. We're a little over, but let me get. I'm trying to remember which one this was. I didn't highlight it, so let me see if this is the right one. All right, this is the last one I want to show from her, and I'll speed it up. Oh shit! I got to full screen that.
This isn't just a glitch, it's a national pattern. After the 2024 election, data analysts and election integrity groups found something.
God, that is quiet.
I went over it in my previous video. I'm going to repeat some of it here. In key swing states, tens of thousands of ballots were counted for down ballot races like the Senate and House, but no vote was recorded for president on those same ballots. This is what they call drop-off. And it's not normal, definitely not at these numbers. So I'm going to go state by state, okay? Arizona, 267,000 people voted for Senate. Only 180,000 were counted for president. That's an 80,000 vote drop. Trump won Arizona by 40,000. In Georgia, 110,000 vote drop off in the presidential column. Trump's margin, just under 30,000. Wisconsin, 60,000 fewer presidential votes than for other statewide races. Trump won by roughly 25,000. Nevada, drop-off estimate around 45,000 votes. Trump's margin.
So if you were going to say that if this was legitimate, right, and this could be, if I'm saying like what could cause these drop-off votes, this could be people who refuse to vote at the top of the ticket for Kamala Harris because of her stance on Israel. There are some of these ballots are going to be because people didn't want to vote for her and they refused to vote for her because of her support for Israel. So when you look at these numbers, I would not feel comfortable saying that this is proof of fraud. I wouldn't be comfortable saying that all of these are fraud, but I also wouldn't be comfortable saying that some of them are not a significant portion of them are fraud. I would need to know how many protest votes there were in these states. And again, that's why we need an audit, because you could have an explanation for this. If there were this many people that voted down ballot but protested at the top of the ballot, this could make sense. There is an explanation here, but the only way we'll find out is through an audit, which is why I'd like to see an audit. Just Moss says fuck Drew and Tex. Sorry, guys.
Pennsylvania, more than 90,000 fewer votes for president than for Senate. Trump won that state by 50,000. In every one of these states, Kamala Harris was on the losing end of the drop-off, not Trump and not the Republicans. So let's be clear. Some drop-off happens in every election. A few voters skip the top of the ticket, but not like this. Not in such consistent, massive numbers across states, across machines, and only in one direction. So.
All right, here we go. They're going to play me freaking Logic and Liberty next. All right. Where are we at? I have one more video. I forgot I had one more. Where are we at on the gift goal? Close. We're about to knock out that gift goal. Guys, if you could help us knock out that gift goal at the end, that'd be great. I just wanted to play. This is Adam Zarnowski. This is the former CIA operative. I'm going to read this to you. Claims he participated in this forensic audit of the 2024 election. This is the one she was referencing, that he's saying like they did a forensic audit, and based on their results, they say that Harris won convincingly. So here's the core allegation. Adam Zarnowski, a former CIA operative, claims he participated in an NSA authorized forensic audit of the 2024 presidential election. The audit allegedly showed Kamala Harris and Tim Walz won by a wide margin, contradicting the official results. Zarnowski asserts the audit was buried due to a cover-up involving transnational organized crime. All right. Isn't that what they're saying about the Epstein list? I didn't even catch this earlier. Isn't this the exact excuse they're using for the Epstein list? Isn't that exactly what they're saying? Is that he's covering up? Isn't that what Anna Paulina just said, that they're covering up for transnational crime? So Zarnowski's saying that this was covered up for that reason too? Listen, Jeffrey, this is the great thing. Jeffrey, how do we figure out if we should trust this CIA whistleblower? We should do an audit, right? Right, Jeffrey? Because you're good faith. You came up here and debated me before. You're good faith. You're common sense. Your solutions. You're not hyper partisan. You're not just in Trump's asshole. How would we find out if this was true? We would do an audit, right, Jeffrey? So, Jeffrey, do you support that we audit the 2024 election? Do we support a bipartisan audit? Republicans and Democrats together in a room, total transparency, bipartisan audit. Do you support that? Because I wouldn't support a partisan one. I wouldn't support kind of what Republicans did, where they just hire some like Republican firm. I want a bipartisan audit. Jeffrey, would you support that? No? Gotcha. I'll wait for that. Okay. Eco 1188, a last-minute software change by ES&S in September, allegedly introduced a backdoor by reclassifying a critical configuration file to bypass hash checks. I'm going to have to talk to Bree about this later so she can explain exactly what the fuck that means. Did we get Jeffrey? Jeffrey, did you answer there? Do you support a bipartisan audit? Just want to make sure. This change enabled vote reporting manipulation without triggering security alerts. This post accuses pro-V&V and the EAC of rubber stamping this change despite risks. The post traces election system vulnerabilities back to the 2000 Florida election and Help America Vote Act, which incentivized electronic voting. It outlines how vendors like Sequoia, Diebold, ES&S evolved and consolidated, creating a monopoly-like ecosystem with shared labs and supply chains. ES&S is portrayed as deeply embedded in Republican power structures with a history of scandals and unauthorized software installations. I'm going to dig into this. I'm going to have more details on this tomorrow because this is what I'm going to spend my time on. Actually, no show tomorrow. Forgot about that. On Friday, we're going to do this, because today's going to be a long day. Pro-V&V, founded by a former executive of the disgraced lab Cyber, is accused of certifying voting systems during a lapse in federal accreditation. The EAC is criticized for uploading a falsified accreditation letter and for being run by politically compromised individuals, e.g. Kristi McCormick and Donald Palmer. The Post urges readers to support the Common Coalition and Election Truth Alliance in pursuing legal action against ES&S, Pro-V&V, and the EAC. It invokes the Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, arguing that ignoring the audit constitutes rebellion against the Constitution. Readers are encouraged to circulate the post, contact officials, and donate to investigative reports. So I'll get more of that from the Substack. I'll have more on Friday of who Kristi McCormick is, who Donald Palmer is. I'm going to reach out to the Election Truth Alliance and see if I can get some information from them. But that's what we'll be doing on Friday, because we just want to know. And if you're somebody in here who is poo-pooing this, who are you? What have you become? We're advocating for transparency right now, and you're saying, no, I don't want it. And I just want you guys to think about that for a few days. Why is it, do you think, that you don't want transparency right now? Dreamliner said, I'm emotionally wrecked, but great show. Peas don't watch Don Jr. interview on Newsmax. It's as bad as you think. Oh, please watch. Fuck. All right, I'll watch it later. Marty said, don't forget when Tina Peters stole and downloaded the voting system software, she put it online at Mike Pillow's Cyber Symposium. Yeah, and she's in jail and Trump's probably going to pardon her. And then there's more leverage. They literally caught somebody trying to cheat. She is in jail. She's not, has no remorse. I think we had somebody in Arizona, too, that got caught cheating, an elected official. I'm also going to reach out to some officials I know here in Arizona, that the comptroller, and see if I can run any of this by them. But we'll have more information on this on Friday. Everybody, W's in the chat for Danielle, who was relentless. So fucking annoying, Danielle. You were so goddamn annoying for months. But I appreciate you staying on it. I don't even know Danielle. I don't know if we've ever even interacted in a live before. And she is absolutely ruthless. And I know that I'm not the only person getting these DMs. I know she's doing it to a lot of people. So Danielle, for showing that if you just annoy the shit out of people long enough, they might listen. And so I appreciate that. Guys, I'll be back at 6 o'clock tonight on TikTok. You'll be able to watch it on YouTube and Twitch, I think, as well. But I'll be back debating, hopefully tonight, with Admir on TikTok. 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time until probably 9 or 9:30. And then again, no show tomorrow. And I think we're going to probably try and do that going forward, that Wednesdays are going to be long days. Thursday's usually a slow news day, and then we'll take Thursdays off. A Felice raid. Welcome, Felice friends.
There's there's Venmos and
there are? Okay.
Other stuff. Yeah. You always check our chat.
Stop yelling at me.
It drives me nuts.
There's a lot of stuff going on right now. For a guy with ADHD, it's actually pretty good.
If you got it organized, it wouldn't be that hard. But whatever, we'll talk about that later.
Thank you, Amy, for the Venmo. And Lisa said for all your hard work. And so Jen doesn't spiral. Thanks for the great info daily. Jen's going to spiral because she deals with me, but I appreciate that. Jen's working with me is just, she's going to spiral until she just can't anymore. And then we'll have to replace her. I think, did I miss any other ones, Jen?
Danielle sent a highlight. I don't know if you recognize this. There's highlighted messages that come through on Twitch.
Oh, I don't see those on mine. I'll read it. In order for the drop-off votes to be organic, it means hundreds of thousands of MAGA voted Trump and blue down ballot. Every vote that Harris didn't get on the blue down ballot votes were votes for Trump. This is just in a couple states. I think, Danielle, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I also think drop-off votes could be that there is no vote at the top. I think the top could be blank. And that's why I said, I think that could, at least some of them, represent protest votes, people who are protesting the treatment of the Palestinians. I'll double check that. But I think drop-off votes could be no vote at the top, not necessarily like Trump at the top and Democrats down ballot. We'll have to look. Yeah, I say replace her, but yeah, I know you guys would all leave if Jen left. I'm very aware of that. I know that I'm just like the entertainment, but you're all here actually for Jen. Anything else, Jen? Did I miss anything?
No, I think when you said 6 o'clock with Admiral tonight, and that's about it.
Yep.
Right.
All right. Late one came in from QH Danny, and let me double check mine real quick. Make sure I didn't miss any. Let me check for a minute. All right. I'm gonna go drink some water, say a bunch of nice things about myself, and I'll see you guys in 4.5 hours. Take care of yourselves. If you guys come across stuff that you think is important with the election, my DMs are open. Also, anything that's breaking later today about Trump, I'd love some help being up to date on anything he does today. I'm going to be with my daughter for the next few hours before we debate, so it'll be nice to be updated on that. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for being with us. That's already been like 5 or 6 hours today, and we got 4 more, so I look forward to it. Take care of yourselves, stay cute and cool, and have a great summer.